Hi, I'm Peachy.
Hello, I'm Patrick.
And today we are joined by Trent Holbrook of Miscast Minis. Hello.
Thank you for having me.
Miscast Minis, isn't it?
Oh, it's just Miscast.
Is it just Miscast?
I've worked really hard to just get Miscast, so please.
Not like earlier today when I saw like the label, it was like MyCast.
And
I was like,
actually, it started with Miscast Terrain, and Scott Miniak is my oldest friend, and he's never been able to drop the terrain, so every time he sees it, he goes, Miscast Terrain!
When you get introduced to something, it sticks, doesn't it?
Yeah,
I've had that many times. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you
for
so
coming on the show.
much.
You're over here for a couple of weeks, well, probably a week now.
Yeah.
It'll be rude not to get Trent on. So for our viewers, some may know who you are. I know you very well because you've got quite the following. But for anyone that doesn't, give us a brief sort of explanation as who you are and what do you do.
I mean, I kitbash a lot of miniatures.
Cool.
And I mold and cast, and I sculpt. I make RPGs. I basically do. I do whatever anyone will sort of let me do, or what people will watch, and then I do it anyway if they don't.
It's the best way to be.
Yeah.
I've been looking at some of the videos and stuff. You've got quite an eclectic mix of like casting stuff and like kit bashing stuff. Do you have like a particular thing that you enjoy doing the most for your videos and stuff?
Probably big monsters, honestly.
That airship's amazing, by the way.
Oh, thank you so much.
I've seen the airship. Is it all like meant to be like flames and stuff like that?
It's sort of meant to be like sort of crusty, like more like crustacean-y. I was thinking Final Fantasy stuff. It's all very airy and yeah. But it's also, that was a collaboration with Bill making stuff. And he's very sort of textural, like it's everything's covered in crust and rust and bicarb soda and
best way.
So it's like I have to channel that energy. Yeah.
That's awesome. No, good. So we're just gonna like shoot the poop. I was going to say the rude word then. Shoot the poop. That's an awful way of describing that. I don't even know how I said it that way. So you've been doing this for how many years now? About 3-4 years?
Like seriously, maybe the last 3 years. It was a job, in the last 3 years, but before that it was, I'd done it for a couple of years, just making terrain and templates and stuff, all for free for people to use and,
that's amazing.
and make, It's all simple stuff like old.
Well, you say simple, but some people out there be like, "That's wizardry."
Yeah, but it's all like stuff that old White Dwarf style stuff. It's like very simple templates, and you just cover it in like a load of sand and black and all that sort of stuff. Yeah.
And you're currently 12, is that right? So you've been doing this 3 years. So
I've been hearing it all my life.
He's been doing it all his life. So I'd say quite a young. There's quite a few of the folks that are quite young whippersnappers that are getting on the scene and stuff like that. So it's good to see the old guard, people like myself that are like somewhere in between, and then like fresh blood
but when I started, it was like I was definitely the youngest, and now that I'm seeing younger people come in, I'm like, is this what it feels like? Am I old now? No, actually.
I remember when I used to work with Duncan, because he's starting to share a bit now. Sorry, Rhodes, but for a good like 5-6 years, it's just like, you're 12, mate. You're still 12. It's like, no, I'm not. I'm like 25. I was like, no, you're not. You're still 12.
How old is Rhodes?
Oh, he's like 78, I think. Something like that.
Oh, right. Okay.
He's starting to, his picture on the wall starting to like get a bit younger now, and he's starting to hit him. So he's like getting all like, clawed fingers and stuff. People are going to watch this thinking this is true. But like, Duncan's not like that. How dare you attack my favourite YouTuber? I was like,
favourite miniature painter, yeah.
We're mates, it's okay. So you recently went to Boyle, which is the week, well, as of filming, was just the weekend just gone.
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm pointing at that. That's the weekend. How did you find that? Was that your first sort of like big event with
old people?
Felt like you were in a care home.
Was it your first pensioner event?
It was really wicked.
Yeah.
It was really, really cool. I mean, for me, I'm sort of like old hammer adjacent because I'm young, but like the sort of the spirit and the style of it, and all my heroes are all there, people that made all the old miniatures and stuff. So like that's, I love it so much, but it's also like I'm a bit of an imposter also. So I'm sort of keeping that.
I mean, we've had Trish on the show. You interviewed her on Monday. Had a good
Yeah,
chat
we
with her.
visited. We got to
Yeah.
pick through all the box of goodies, and
I'm jealous. Yeah, we didn't get to do that. Dang.
Yeah, so
No, no.
yeah. Eric and I, we sat on her studio floor, a room like this, huge. It's tiny, and she just put all these boxes, cardboard boxes, on the floor. She's like, "Oh, go nuts!" And it's just all the old greens and all the unreleased stuff. And it's just, holding back tears. Eric definitely had tears.
Yeah.
You know? I've been going through every single bit of frame in that footage, just making sure I can get one of them.
Yeah.
Because you're both good buds, right? You and Eric,
Yeah.
We had him on the show, last week. And then we all went for lunch at Bugman's.
Yeah. He's bloody awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's good. He's very like similar mindset to me when it comes to like the hobby, like old school sort of builds, like Necromunda, Warcry. I love not Warcry, More Time.
Yeah.
So sorry, I said Warcry.
Yeah, that's a bit of a
More Time and Warcry in the same vein. I mean, the art are the same to me, but it's nice to see folks still, punching that old school stuff.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, well, More Time is like every time. So I'm in a pretty small country town, but we've had like a consistent like club, wargaming club, and every time it sort of peters off or dies out, we bring back Mordheim, and it gets everyone from the deepest, darkest corners.
This is the thing,
incredible.
Right? So, we've had Steve Box from Vanguard Tactics on, pretty big name in the community. We've had Ollie recently from Broadsword Wargaming, pretty big name. There's loads of us out there that love Mordheim. You like Mordheim. Eric likes Mordheim. I love Mordheim. We've all got massive, or I'd say ours is a reasonable amount of following, but you guys have got huge followings. Yeah. Why is Mordheim not a thing? We need to make this a thing again.
Yeah, I don't know if people would be happy.
This should be.
Well,
it's amazing.
Yeah, but it's also like Mordheim is like quite cool because it's like, well, it's the best of the best, doing the best of the best of their work and just doing whatever they want to do. But it's also quite punk. Like, it's very sort of, know.
You're only cool kids doing it.
Yeah. So...
The hipsters war game.
But it's like it's got such a awesome like support network if you want to play now. So it doesn't really need to be remade. Like it'd be great to have all those old kits again. 100%. But like the community is,
I even don't think. I think just revamping the rules, like literally just reprinting the rules.
Well,
is
look,
what I'm saying,
the rules aren't great. But everything else is awesome.
The thing I really like about them, I was flicking through it recently because I've got the rule book. Everything is in there you need because you've got like your 6 main warbands, and there's the old Fanatic and Town Cry publications that had like extra rules and stuff. But you got like your 6 main warbands. You could say 8 because you've got the 3 different Empire variants you can have. But what I really like is all the instructions and all the rules don't refer to the base in any way, shape, or form. And I've started because I've got where is she? Got my sisters of Sigma. And my rule book's here. We've been doing her for a video, and I put them on a round base. Because the base is not important, and I can
that will start an argument though.
Oh, I don't care. I like it's good for the algorithm.
Okay.
Drop it in the comments.
Drop it in the comments.
If you don't like round bases on your Mordheim.
I mean, not only is it round, but it's not goblin green as well. So.
Well, you really should be putting on a hex base because that upsets everyone.
I might even make my own base.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
Like a peach-shaped base.
I said fascinating. I get told.
Oh, yes. Well, but Liz thinks lean into it. My wife Liz watches the show and she loves hearing
Well,
you
it's
say
branding, isn't it? Like, that's great merch.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
And it's just a picture of my face.
Yeah. I'd wear it.
That's good.
Yeah. But I find it, like, again, like, I guess because I'm not, like, a seasoned hobbyist, so
Which
to
is
speak.
a great dynamic for the chat.
Yeah. It's amazing that you have square bases versus round bases, and it's like, no, but if you want everyone to hate you, hexagonal bases.
Yeah. So that's what I'm doing that at the moment with my Chaos Orcs, because I just, I was like...
Chaos Orcs?
Yeah.
Oh, you're going to trigger so many people.
It's been fun, like, but I've gone through all, like, the justification, like I've gone
There's art
through...
of Chaos Orcs.
Yeah. So I've dug all that up and, so people can't get too mad. No. But they still do. Yeah, but for me, I made a very specific point of, like, I don't want... Like, because we're all on the 25s, 32s, and they got bigger, the bases for competitive. I'm like, oh, well, I don't want to rebase them to be bigger, but they look silly if they're too small with my crazy conversions.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I have to put them on hexes, so then I can't go to any tournaments. And
well, I remember Age of Sigmar had a rule, which was the base doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And that was one of the early rules. So you can have them on triangles if you want to.
Yeah. Could you have hexagonal bases and then paint your base rim any color other than black, and then that would
Or
annoy
brown
lots
or
of
grey,
people.
and just go pink.
It doesn't matter until you're playing like an undead player, and then they just like cram them all together.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's good. What else do you do at Boyle? Do you get involved in anything else?
I got a head sculpted by Kev Adams, which was really
What, of you?
No,
Oh.
well, it could be. It's quite demonic and ugly. Yeah.
By the way, I'm loving the hair. I'm just so jealous right now. There's like so much hair in this room right now, and none of it's on me.
You can borrow some. I'm littered in it.
I was going to say.
Next time you guys have a shave or have a cut, just donate it to the Peach Fund.
Yeah, it was mad. It was so cool because I was buying miniatures, as you do there.
That'd be rude not to.
And I just hear like little whisperings of, oh, Kev. I'm like, oh it's going to be Kev Adams. And then I'm waiting. And then I just see, this very punk old guy come in. I'm like, oh, this is it. This is my chance. I'm like, oh, please. And I second in line.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I'm sad I didn't go. I wish I'd gone now. I spent too long away from like doing stuff with the family at the weekends and stuff because there's been a lot of events. But there's like, do you ever want to get on the show? Kev Adams, there's so many folks. So John, now that he's retired and whatever, so it would have been a great time
and he was
to just
rolling
chat.
dice on
I saw a
crazy
photo of, like,
table.
he got dice in his hands and like showing. I was either you or Eric something on his phone.
Yeah, it was Eric, unfortunately. He's been gloating about that bloody video. I was just like, look, I made John smile. Look at me. Like, what did you do today, Trent?
Oh, John doesn't do smiles. He does angry and snarl. Oh, that might have been snarl. No, I'm joking. He smiles a lot.
I love like the, I guess, camaraderie / almost like jibing and poking fun, like when we were in Bugman's on Friday and you bumped into Darren Latham and he was like, oh yeah, this is the RPG guy.
What kind of following do you have?
Yeah, look, it sort of started. Well, I mean, it's annoyingly all my biggest videos always have Eric in them, which is kind of annoying.
Are you saying Eric is the draw?
But yeah, we really got along at Adepticon, and we just got up to a lot of mischief together, and now we just bust each other's balls every opportunity we can get.
I say, from a personal point of view, I've been in a company for a long time, institutionalized, you could argue, and when joined up with Pat and did our own stuff, I always had this sort of perception, and wrongly so, of like everyone out there is like out for themselves, and it's going to be a dog eat dog world and stuff like that. It's so the opposite. So
100%.
everyone's so welcome. It's such an amazing sort of,
and everyone's
community
so
to be part of.
accessible.
Oh yeah.
Like when I started, everyone's just an email away, message away, and everyone's accommodating, and that's how we built like the best relationships. Really, everyone is very tight knit.
I mean, we just had random conversations on like Discord and like Instagram.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And then it's just been nice, just chatting to people.
And that's also
great.
he's all right,
He's all right. Apparently tall in the chest and torso, small in the legs.
I don't know how he fit in here, honestly.
we had to lower his stool.
Yeah, I got in the next day. I was like, oh my god,
Yeah.
Is that why my stool
Yeah.
was so? I thought this was a power move. You wanted me to do?
No, like
I'm tiny.
just because he is a tree trunk of a man.
Yeah, and it's great for conventions because he's got like this, like when he walks through crowds, it's like a slipstream. You just go behind him, just like powering through his way. He's collecting as many models as he can and just throwing them back to you.
Brilliant.
You plan on going to Adepticon next year? Because it's something we're certainly considering, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's obviously cost side of it, but absolutely.
Oh, it was so bloody awesome. So I have to, I really have to. I met like the best people there. I went there, traveled all that way, and then ended up most of the time just in this tiny little room with all these like sort of like ex-scene kids and hardcore kids, and like they're all the tattoos and the hair and the piercings, and we just made the weirdest stuff the whole time, the craziest kitbashes, and then
that's awesome.
Yeah, and then we ended it like with the meat grinder, which I'm sure you've seen videos of.
I've not seen these. No.
Yeah. The concept is it's like this sort of arena death match.
Oh yes.
Yeah. And then every casualty you're forced to put it through a meat grinder.
Oh my days!
Yeah, but not before one part of your model gets harvested and the last standing model gets a throne built from all the last parts of it.
That's amazing.
It's crazy. Like, there's the craziest people that do it.
That's
but it's my kind of people.
There were some people, because we get the odd comments about Greg, which is the cursed kit bash that Pat did, saying this is really disgusting because there's people out there that can't afford miniatures. I bet they'd hate that.
Yeah, and like
they're not going to go to that one.
Yeah, I mean, I get that side of it, but it's also like, you know, there's sort of
Sure, money as well.
Yeah, but it's kind of, I don't know, without sounding a bit wanky, it's a bit, you know, it's kind of arty and cool. Like, you spend all this time making something for it to, but like if it was a winner, that's incredible. Yeah.
It's got, like you say, it's got a bit of an art form to it because you're taking bits off it and then using it and stuff. But I know there's always going to be someone out there that whinges about anything anyone ever does.
Yeah,
regardless of
well,
what they do.
the video that I did on it probably has the most dislikes and unsubscribes I've ever got.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
oh, wow.
Yeah, really divisive. But, you know, that's also why it's cool.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like, if people didn't like it, then you would,
Yeah, this is cool because I lost 1,000 subscribers. Cool.
I don't know.
I mean, to be fair, you could probably afford to lose 1,000 and not even blink an eyelid, couldn't you?
Like it's kind of, I have this sort of weird relationship with YouTube because everything I do is so diverse. Like, you know, it's really hard to just gain a core audience, and I think YouTube sort of changes the
weird, isn't
dynamic all the time of what it's looking for or what it wants or the consistency it wants or who it's showing videos to, you know?
Yeah.
And it's also like everyone's audience is really different too. So it's like, you know, the idea that I can post a video and it's like got to be fast and punchy and exciting or whatever. And if it's not that, then YouTube tells me it's like, oh, you know, people are clicking away too early, so we're not going to show it to anyone else. Yeah. But then also half of our hobby is like talking head videos from like, you know, 60-year-old dudes in a basement with the trains around them, and people watch it religiously. It's like, you know, I'm you know, every night I'm like, oh, this little edit, this little edit, this little edit. And I can just be.
It's like a puzzle we've been trying to work out, and I don't think it's one of those things would ever work out. It's interesting as a system algorithm. It's just made up in it. I think what happens is every day YouTube has a tombola and they go, what we're going to focus on today.
But my tip is
talking heads,
because I get it quite a lot. Like people asking, you know, I want to do a YouTube channel, all that sort of stuff. It's like, just know that the rules are always changing, and it's like, you know, what isn't working today might be the thing that's working tomorrow.
Yeah.
So you just got to keep doing it.
Yeah, we had Ollie on, and he's like, sometimes his videos are up and then down, then up, then down.
Yeah, it comes in waves, doesn't it? Like I said,
Yeah. And also, because the community is quite tight-knit too, it's like you see your mates do really well and you might not do so well and you do really well, so you're sort of just going to kind of, you know, cool about everything.
I think that's the other thing I've noticed with a lot of folks is like everyone's there to support each other when that does happen. You're just like, don't worry, the next one will be fine and stuff. So, I mean, we've had a few highs and a few sort of like, oh, I thought I would do better.
Yeah.
And they were like, do we do that again? I'm like, well, I think we should. But then you just don't know if it's going to do well, and sometimes they might, sometimes they might not. But.
Yeah. My mum of all people, she was so cutting. We released we did the Shatterpoint painting video, and and we released it, and I was like, oh, it's like, I think it was like, of your most recent videos, it was 9 of 10 or 10 of 10. And I was like, but it's okay, like, because it's Star Wars, we knew that it wouldn't track as well. And she just looked at me and went, then why did you make it?
This is a fun project, Pat's mom.
Yeah. Well, she'd probably do quite well on YouTube with that attitude, honestly.
Yeah. It's just like that ruthless. Yeah. But
also, I think
that quite
what
funny.
didn't help is because of like all the events we went to, we intended it to be a lot earlier, which was the release of Shatterpoint, but it was like a month later, wasn't it?
Yeah.
After release.
Is it good? I heard from Rob that you'd played again.
I really enjoyed it. It's a very different style game that I'm used to because I like to stab things and watch them get taken off the table and watch them bleed out. I'm just like, and
you played specifically with Rob?
I didn't get to play Rob.
Maybe that's why you enjoyed it.
Yeah.
No.
Hot take
love
from Trent.
Rob. I've been staying with Rob.
Just do that face for the thumbnail, Peachy.
Go on.
Yeah, brilliant.
I should have been looking at that one.
Wait.
Shall I do it again?
Yeah.
Oh, it's my Macaulay Culkin got after shaving my face shot there.
I have been living with Rob. I've been here just to clarify everyone.
Rob's brilliant. He gives us as good as he gets. No, it was good. It was interesting. There's a lot to learn, but from seeing some, because I just went with the box contents and seeing what other people have done, I've now started doing this alternate sort of what if style characters. I've done Maul as a goodie, I'm doing a Sarge as a goodie. Any other baddies, I'm going to turn them to goodies. Any goodies, I'm going to turn to baddies. Because I've got one set which we did for the channel which are painted up, so I can mix and match and do what I want.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah, well, my mate Matt from Totally Not Panicking, he's doing the Marvel miniatures, but he's doing like grimdark ones, just like hacking them up and kitbashing. That could be quite cool for Star Wars, really, because that would upset a lot of people.
Absolutely,
but
best way.
It'd make Star Wars cool. No, sorry.
I love it. Absolutely. I love it. Well, I also find it really interesting how in the miniature community, Star Wars isn't that cool,
which is weird,
or like as popular
because it's quite a big franchise and everyone watches the movies. Lots of people have figures of them to some degree, which I find
well, if it was made by Games Workshop, it would do well.
It makes you wonder, doesn't it?
It's got to be. Surely,
maybe.
Right? Because it was like, well, that's interesting with like all the Lord of the Rings stuff. Like that's in Australia, a lot of people got into Warhammer because of the Lord of the Rings.
Yes, I think it was a massive thing in the UK as well.
Yeah. Did you get the magazines? Where it's like,
Battle for Middle Earth, Battlefields for Middle Earth, something like that.
Yeah.
So what was your introduction to miniatures?
Thank you. Nice. Pat always bringing it back to the sensible content.
Yeah. So my brother, he collected wood elves. He started collecting wood elves, which is why it was very special going to Trish's, because we got to see all the beautiful old treatment and hold the greens of it's
even the new stuff she's doing is very old school wood elf.
Yeah, it fits so perfectly too. And we got to see an unreleased gigantic treatment that she did for Games Workshop a while ago.
Amazing.
Yeah. But it's too finicky to cast. It was
right.
But we got lots of video of it. Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, my brother did miniatures, and I would have been like 10, 11 watching him, and he was just painting the monopose wood elves, and they're pretty bad models, but they're
just the ones that like that.
Yeah. Which I really love now.
Yeah.
But but he would be painting them, and I think he got a bit bored of it. So then he sort of outsourced that painting to me.
It's like, you paint these and I won't beat you up.
Yeah. He was pretty good. And then he had, like, I remember we went to the beach and we collected pebbles and stuff so we could do like the barriers that were like in the 6 ed rule book or whatever, and
of course,
we did all that, and then he discovered girls, and then I got his collection, and then I
love how we always refer to them as we discovered girls. We're there just like chipping away in the garden, doing something. Go, what's this strange place to go to? This is where the girls live. I won't be back for a while. Keep my toys. Return them when I'm 20. But it's true, because that's I mean, I kind of stuck with it all the way through. But I met my wife quite early on when I was at college. And she thought they were my dad's and my brothers, and I was like, yeah, they are. And then I had to eventually fess up and like, no, they're mine. I don't want to lose this chance of like a relationship and love because I paint toy soldiers.
And I mean, because he was my brother, I wanted to do what he was doing, but like I also couldn't collect wood elves, so I picked high elves, obviously.
Yes, yeah.
The more regal, less cool version of the savage cool, wood elves, like, with the outcasts, we've gone into like
a bit more horty-torty.
I mean, that being said, like all the war dancers are on like studded leggings and with their shirts off and so whatever,
a little bit of BDSM with some of those war dancers, I think.
But it's like, those wood elves really shaped so much, and now I took on his army, and then like I got involved with local clubs like around 12, 13. My parents would just drop me.
So not long ago.
And then we just local clubs and stuff were what sort of kicked off my hobby. Was like I was learning all my terrain making from them, and learning to paint and socialize or whatever as much as you can with nerds.
I always found that because being a staff member in retail and the social aspect that the hobby would bring, because there'll be a lot of people, and myself included. I was very reclusive because I lived in the middle of nowhere, played against me brothers and my dad, and weirdly we had this time I had dwarfs, my brother had Empire, my dad had Dogs of War, and it was all kind of goodies, but we all fought against each other and stuff. But going into like the retail shops or playing against other people, you start to like build that confidence, and so seeing that as a retail staff member, like you get like a young lad coming in, and he'll be like very sort of quiet and within his own shell, and within like a year he's like boisterous and like knows what he's doing and very confident.
I was very lucky because like the person that ran our club, his name was Bo. He's like 20. He was 22 at the time, I think, around there, and so he was a great role model for me. And anytime there was like extra club funds or whatever, he'd say, "Oh, do you want to?" For a box of elves, do you want to, fix up our terrain or, make something for a tournament and all that sort of stuff. So that really, that was really quite good. And then when that club eventually shut down, I was doing freelance graphic design and I was learning video editing and all that sort of stuff. And I had all these skills. So I'm like, I have to apply them somehow. So that's why I started YouTube, doing all the Warhammer stuff. Because it's like, I wasn't ingrained into the hobby necessarily at that time, but I just had all these skills and stuff. And then, a couple of years later, I met up with an old high school teacher, which sounds sort of sinister now, but he was very cool. Because he was like,
is that what he said? I'm really cool. This is fine.
But our secret.
But he was like the only other person I knew in our little town that played Warhammer, and we just said, we have to start a club. So we did that, and it was just then my sort of love for gaming and all that sort of stuff, and doing things for local clubs and stuff really took off, and that's just shaped everything I do now, basically, is that social element. And like all the things I do, it's just stolen from like my best friends and their coolest ideas, and like
it's the best way.
Steal
other people's ideas,
especially like the old folk, because they're like, that's
what we are.
they all have the best ways of playing the games, which are like, every time, like we were playing Warhammer Fantasy for the longest time, but it wasn't just Warhammer Fantasy, it was like Mighty Empires was in it. We were playing Man of War, and we were playing War Master, all in this big campaign, and there was espionage and alliances.
That's cool. So using all the different scales to different elements. That's really good.
Yeah, and it's just like the people that were running it, it's like, it's just been my dream since I was a kid. And we never had anyone to be willing to do it.
There's something to be said for that mindset, because I play against a couple of like Dave is one of them, and he has a very sort of, he's not interested in the winning or the losing. He's interested in building a story, and when he makes his armies and his collections and stuff, you are following an enjoyable process, and the result isn't what matters. It's about the enjoyment of playing it at that moment and stuff, and it's just a talking point where you drink beer and eat crisps and stuff, and just hearing that, like, using different scales to represent different things, like, you've got your Mighty Empire stuff moving across the channel. Oh no, we're going into boats now, and there's a fleet battle, and it's like, there's only so many survived, and that means only so many troops have made it and stuff. I always love that kind of stuff. Yeah. It's like been a whole new way of experiencing these games, playing in this new club that I've been a part of. It's just really changed everything. And it's like also all like the role playing stuff as well. So during COVID, I wrote a tabletop RPG. So Eric wasn't. But that was. That was just inspired by like the games that we were playing at the club and the ideas that everyone were bringing in, and it's like community is such an important part of my hobby. Really, like I couldn't do it isolated or not. Do you still have it as a game system that you use, or is it something you can buy?
It's all on miscast.com.
Oh, is it cool?
Yeah. You'll find all
it out.
There's a bunch of free stuff there as well. So much, so many great resources.
Are you quite a big fan of role playing games then?
I like the freedom of it. And I also like how sort of simple they are both to run and to play. Like a war game is very reliant on the rules typically, depending on who you're playing with. But like an RPG is sort of a bit more relaxed, and you can also get people that aren't, devoted to the hobby to play with you as well. Because it's a bit hard.
I was DM'd a D&D campaign during COVID over lockdown and stuff like that, and it was like my sister, my girlfriend, two of my mates and one of their partners, and it wasn't necessarily like we're all massive nerds and we wanted to play D&D, but it was like, we don't have anything to do. I've been listening to some D&D podcasts, like I'd like to give it a go, and like I didn't think that like my partner, for example, would really get into being like, I'm a high elf orphan and I don't know my parents. Smite, and it's awesome to see, and it, like group storytelling sort of aspect of it is really what I love about it.
I think, it definitely depends on the games master as well, because I did a little one with some of a few of them still work with Workshop. I mean, they're like in the editing teams, like the promotional side of it. And there's a guy called Dermot who is funny as heck, and he plays some interesting characters. But I decided this was not the one where I'm his father and where I'm a farmer and he's like a weird scholar.
And what were your names?
I'm I forget. He's Cum Drunker or Cum Drinker, and I
Maybe I'll be these.
And I still can't, I've got it written down. I can't remember what it was, but my other character was a bold 42-year-old half orc. I like to play myself.
I didn't want to say it.
I just changed the race. That's all I do. I even try and find a photo that looks like me. And it's like, that looks like me as an orc. And again, testament to the GMs and stuff like that. I always love this. That we're fighting against this giant snake thing, and I turned to the GM, and I was like, "Can I just?" And this is before I even watched Vox Machina. So this was like a year or two ago, and I was like, "I'm gonna charge up its anus and kill it from the inside out," because the rest of the gang were just like struggling, and he was like, roll a dice, and I got a 20, and he was like, cool, I'm gonna ride that in, and I killed it from the inside out.
You just slide right in there.
I was a suppository, a barbarian suppository
of death,
and then after that it was just my way to, I'm very much a Leroy Jenkins of the party, and I think to everyone else's disapproval.
Love a Leroy Jenkins.
But I love the fact that he could like quickly like let's do this thing.
I've only ever played Dungeons and Dragons with my girlfriend once, for good reason, because I put a lot of effort, and this was when we were quite young, we put a lot of effort in there, and we got to like the quest giving point, and she's just like, I'm just going to push him off the cliff. But I've got a sculpting now. I don't know if you saw the...
Yes, I feel really bad because I feel like I insulted the work, because I was like, oh, is that something you've drawn? She was like, yeah. Oh, is that based off something? And she showed me this piece of art. I was like, oh my God, that's terrifying. And then I was like, oh, did you draw? I was like, yeah. I was like, oh God, I'm sorry. I feel so sorry.
But maybe it was designed to be terrifying.
Yeah, 100% is.
It's awesome. Yeah. It's very, I'm trying to think of the artist now, the one that does the scream. Monk? No. Oh, God, I forget what he's called.
I know who you mean.
He does the scream, but it's got that kind of style of I used to know all the artist names when I did art at like college and uni. It's just full of war cry, warband rules now.
Yeah.
That's what my head's full of.
Forced it out.
You know, who cares about Mondrian when I can care about, I don't know, Soul Sworn Stormcast instead?
I was going to say, I think one of the artists I remember is Mondrian, and I remember being...
He just draws lines and colours it in.
Being lines and colouring in squares and stuff. But
Master of masking tape.
Yeah. And so I think I remember being in school and someone was like, "Oh, which artist inspired this piece?" And I was like, "Mondrian." They were like, "Oh, you know your art," and it wasn't, because I just watched. There's a TV show called Hustle, which is pretty old now.
Yes, I know the one.
And also like hasn't aged particularly well, because it was like a group of men and then one hot lady, and it's like, how we got to get into this, and the lady goes, boobs.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
And then they steal a Mondrian, and that was I just watched too much TV. I didn't know art at all.
Well, you learned something from it though.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So yeah.
So I find like RPGs are good for like, you know, saying like introducing people that aren't into the hobby into like that kind of environment to a certain degree.
Yeah, a lot of diversity too. You get a lot more characters in than, you know. Yeah. I see at my hobby shop playing Warhammer a lot of the time too. I don't know. Yes, it's the case here.
Yeah, well, I suppose. I mean, I don't tend to go to them as often as I'd like.
Oh, you just be swarmed by the vicious fans ripping off your clothes. So.
Oh my God, is that Peachy? I need some of his flesh.
Definitely wearing leather wherever I go, with steel plate armor over the top.
Yeah. I was thinking of the zombie apocalypse. Yeah, don't worry.
Just was Mad Max.
Yeah.
Bold Mad Max.
Yeah.
So you did a little figure for Suggs, didn't you?
Yeah, that's a bit cheeky.
Presentor. I love Presentor. Presentor's very cool. She uses that as her Discord mod, I think, as well.
Yeah, she really took it and ran with it. Yeah,
yeah, she definitely did.
Great. Yeah. Well, it's like just a bit of a cheeky present for her. For
I think it's one of her videos, isn't it? She's done it as a video.
Yeah, she
painting pink. Yeah, that was it.
Yeah. Well, it's sort of it's a bootleg model of an old Plague Marine with a bunch of just green stuff and cutting and just it's really janky and sort of silly, but it's just meant to be sort of a gift. It's meant to be a bit of a mock of Games Workshop. I feel a bit. Yeah. Games Workshop. Yeah.
I say less mock and more.
The idea is that it's a Games Workshop presenter you can't replace because they own him and he can't die.
Yeah, and he has no personality that's required to be on screen.
And funnily enough, Louise really liked it.
Does it have hands? That's the question. That's the important question.
Because it's holding a paintbrush.
Initially, that was going to be the joke. I was just going to give her a blister pack of hands, but we couldn't get a good blister pack.
So good. Just like this little hands.
Yeah. But I didn't really expect her to go so far with it. So hopefully, I don't get into any trouble.
Can't see why. It's so far removed. I didn't even realise it was like based off a Plague Marine, so I don't. It's so far removed from
Well, it's not for sale anyway. It's just it's an art piece, and it is in a gallery now, so it is legitimate art. Ooh. So I don't know if that works in law, but something.
Yeah, it'd be fine.
Yeah.
So I've got a question to ask you. It's random, very random, because it's your profile picture. But I was I can't remember what I was either going to send you a message to do with like organising time, and my lad was like, "What's that man got on his head?" Because at first, when I first saw it, it took me a while. I was like, "Is that a tattoo? He's just trying to have tattoos on his head." But it's just got loads of sprues stuck on your head, haven't you?
It's
how hard was that to get off? That's
they're 3D printed bits kits that I designed with my dad.
Amazing.
So we needed sort of a way to sell it. So I thought I'll just put it all over my face. I think it might have been my girlfriend's idea, but she's just with a glue stick. Not like a hot glue gun. No.
Oh.
No. And it's probably late at night, and I was like, and there's this falling off, and I'm like, quick, take the picture. But I love it so much.
Like the sexy male version of 7 of 9.
I was thinking about getting it done permanently. Just
I would lean into it, but I just love my son's mind. It's like, why does that man have things on his head?
Because
it's cool.
I don't know if it might affect my performance. They might go, he's got all the face tattoos. Oh, my son can't be watching him.
Maybe.
I thought you looked cool.
Yeah, I think so.
I think you look less cool now without
honestly, I'm sorry you're disappointed.
Get back on there. When I saw him in the flesh, I was like, when I went to Bugman's, I was just like, he's not as cool as I thought. He's not got those things on the side of his face. I mean, just missing out. It's cool.
No, it was a really fun project to do because my dad isn't creative at all, but he's like a really technical sort of guy. So he taught me all the sort of practical skills that I use in my videos, and he sort of really wanted to help me do the YouTube stuff because I kept it a secret. I'm doing it in my bedroom while I was living at home, and just trying to keep the noise down, and recording voiceovers like 3 a.m. because so
as a parent, I bet the parents are like, what does he do in that room? And they like thinking about drugs, all that kind of stuff.
It just smells like aerosol and
or is it like they hear you doing the voiceovers and it'd be like, Trent, what are you doing? You're like, watching porn.
Easier to explain, really, isn't it? Yeah.
Go over that.
No, well, look, it was just because my dad really wanted to help do something for the YouTube channel because it was at first he was like he didn't really get it and all that sort of stuff, and I was like I've always had like a creative career. So I was doing freelance art and video and all that sort of stuff before that in high school. So that sort of, I was always doing something a bit alternative, which is always a hard sell already. And then being like, I'm going to just live off the internet on this, on YouTube is
Is that something you thought you'd do when you were like high school? Just like, because we all get like given like, what are you going to do when you grow up? And most people are like, I want to be an astronaut. I mean, my intention was to go into the army or be an artist and stuff like that. And I kind of have done none of those things. So I'm just
you are an artist. Different kind of artist.
As in like illustrations for like book covers and stuff like that.
Oh, right, okay.
Well, I wanted to do art, but I was always told like graphic design's the way to get paid for it.
Yeah.
And we had a really good graphic design program in high school, which was we had a really good like design teacher that was like pushing for all the latest programs and all that sort of stuff. And we're using Maya, which is like what Disney and stuff we're using, and it's a bloody big program. But he would stay up all night learning it, so the next morning he could teach us.
Wow!
So like the really dedicated guy. So like I owe so much to him.
Yeah. Is this the same one that did the club, or was it a different one?
Had a few good teachers.
Yeah.
Pretty lucky.
Australia's the place to be taught. That's amazing.
But it's just so fortunate doing that, and just I really enjoy doing the 3D modeling, and I started doing it seriously because there was like whispers of like 3D printing. Like when the first filament printers came out, I was like, oh, this is it. Like, I'm so excited.
Yeah.
So I started learning 3D modeling for that, and just like torsos and things like one day these will be miniatures. I had no money, so it's like I can't pay anyone to do it or anything. But I started making bases, like custom bases, because there was a company in Australia, I think, like Back to Basics. I don't know if they're still around now.
Good name, though.
Yeah. But they were doing resin cast bases, and I'm like, oh, this will be my in. If I can learn to sculpt them, and if I can get them 3D printed, then I can sell it to them, and then I can make my money doing my hobby, right? And then that didn't really work out, but I had all these skills. So I just started doing like, music videos and all that sort of stuff, and sort of developed a love for making eccentric art and weird creatures and things doing that.
Yeah.
And then obviously I got back into all the Warhammer stuff, and all the skills sort of were applicable. But I didn't want to do a regular job, and I had to, like, obviously to fund all these stuffs and learn and all that. But everything was self-taught, and didn't.
I think you're doing a cracking job with the following you got, and how the hits you get from the videos and stuff. That's testament to your dedication.
Oh, thank you. So, Jack of all trades, master of none. But that's sort of the aesthetic now. Everything's like crusty and grimy. And
somebody was telling me that quote, "Jack of all trades, master of none," like there is like it carries on. And being a jack of all trades is a good thing.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
No, I agree with that. I think that my wife's very good at a lot of things, and she always says, "Oh, I'm not very talented" and stuff like that. But you can like fix the door, fix the taps. You can put shelves up. You can like make joints in wood. I look at that and go, clue.
Well, I think now more than ever, like jobs are really like in media and stuff, they're calling for people that can do everything, because that's what YouTube and stuff is. Everyone has to know a little bit of everything to do it. My brother's in TV, so we have like this rivalry. Because like newer platform, cool kids, and he's like, well, I've got maybe 5 years, but he's been saying that every 5 years. So, like he called me up and he's like, oh, do you want a job? I said, no, obviously I don't want a job with you, but
don't worry, brothers, trust me, don't do it.
And then you're like, get wrecked.
But he said, oh, do you have any other friends that just know how to do all these things? Because that's all we can employ now, because people, like in government jobs and stuff, because doing stuff for the ABC, it's like, oh, we need people that can do the TikToks and the all the things, but also be a full-time editor or a presenter, or be a exciting person on whatever. So I don't know what
it's like being an exciting person.
I don't know if it's necessarily a good thing you should do, but if it's working, I think. Trying. It's hard. It's bloody hard. It's really hard work.
That's the thing as well. It's like, I suppose we do to a certain degree. We don't keep it all the same stuff. We do mix and match and try new things. And I think because you do that as well, it becomes that's almost like your style. It's a bit eclectic, a little bit different. Whereas like if you just do the same thing all the time, I suppose if you want to try something different, you can't, because you're following. That's different.
I mean, it's also like I just know a lot of ways to get to an end result that are probably very wrong. Like like today, I was sculpting something. I'm like, I really wish like I could carve into it. And it's like, well, I could just mold and cast this. I can make a duplicate out of a softer resin or whatever, which is like a completely rubbish way of doing it. Because if you learn like the right way, it's like, oh, you're using a mix of green stuff or milliput or whatever, something that you could actually carve into. If you had the foresight to know that's what you were doing, it'd be all right. But because I'm just a bit shit at everything, I have to use all my knowledge of all the sort of abstract.
But then, plans change, don't they? You try new things. So
Yeah.
if you'd known that going in, you would have probably done it a different way to start off with. I
Yeah,
suppose.
but I love that. That's why I love sharing the sort of the journey of it, and that's everything that I'm doing now. Because it's like it's very hard to do tutorials when you don't know what you're doing until you get to the end.
Yeah, and I find I watched one of your, I think your most recent video where you were having problems or issues casting your orcs.
Yeah.
And the way it's filmed and all that sort of stuff, I really like the kind of like the narrative of it. Because even like I don't know anything about casting miniatures, but I can watch it and engage with it and enjoy it, and I'm like, oh, I really like that. Rather than I prefer that to someone saying, this is how you cast a miniature. First, you get this cup. I'm like, oh, I don't care about that. Like if I can like follow a narrative and like go, oh, I wonder how he's going to overcome that problem. And I think that
I've done it with as an analogy along those lines, like tightening a chain on my bike. When I get new bikes, it's not massively different, but there's always like little nuances that are slightly different. And sometimes you can just go on YouTube and just go, how to tighten a chain on a Kawasaki, and you start watching one that's got loads of views and be like, oh my god, and you're like skipping through, like, when do you get to the bit where you actually do the thing that I need to learn? All I need to know is which bit I'm undoing first and this, that and the other. And then there was like one guy, I was just like, it was just exciting from the off, and it took about 15 minutes before he actually got to tighten the chain, but I just watched the whole thing. It was just and it was like, and that's the thing, is that you got the instructional ones which just tell you the thing, but it takes ages to get the bit that you need to know, and it's the ones that are just like, make a story, make it engaging.
I guess my goal now isn't to do tutorials like or teach people to do things. It's more like getting people excited about doing it. Because like all those tutorials, they have their place, and like I have to sit through the boring tutorials to learn what I'm doing.
But they have a place, right?
Yeah,
They're educational as opposed to entertainment. So you're right.
And like initially I started off doing just all tutorials and like trying to teach people how to do things as efficiently and in the most excited way as possible. And then I put like a little chunk of my sort of personality at the end as like the closing thoughts, or talk about like the challenges or whatever, or what I overcame as a personal thing. And I like that sort of thing that like if you got what you wanted, you could click away from that. But now it's like all as an artist or a creator or whatever, everyone has to grow. Everyone wants to challenge themselves all the time and make better and better things, and that's not accessible. Because in an ideal world, we would all be just making like simple tutorials that get the most amount of people excited about whatever. But it's not like like it's not. I don't know, like it doesn't feel satisfying.
For you, it's
because you're not progressing. And like everything I do, it's like I'm either trying to like make something better art wise, or trying to make the video better, or maybe do both, and then it takes forever to make anything. But it's
We've done any videos where you just never got around to finishing it and just like, nah, that's going on the shelf?
Yeah. I mean, so famously, my Nurgle Diaries series, which is like sort of what got people really excited over COVID, which was doing an army that was all kitbash miniatures. So every single miniature had to be kitbashed.
Awesome.
And I loved it. And lots of people loved it too. But around the end of that series, well, the thing was, I never wanted it to end because it was like the best time I'd ever had.
Yeah.
Cool. And so I'm like, adding more units and doing like rival armies, or adding like, doing a 40k variant or whatever. But it had to finish eventually. But around that time, our club had sort of disbanded because COVID in Australia was like where we were in a regional place. It was like, it was great for hobby time, and we were still able to socialize with people because, we were sort of secluded. But then things really tightened up, and then sort of our club sort of disbanded. I didn't really know what to do. Like I had like this massive identity crisis. So I'm like, I'm the Nurgle kitbash guy. That's what everyone loves. But like I'm not playing a game. It feels sort of disingenuous. And like I sort of concluded the series by like destroying my miniatures and repurposing them for dioramas and things like that. And like for me, it felt kind of liberating. I was like, I'm still doing what I love. But for a lot of people, that really hurt a lot of people because it's like it felt like their army as much as mine.
I suppose if you've been engaged with it for so long.
And really, that that sort of hurt that happened. I couldn't return to it.
Yeah.
It sort of left it there. But that's why I'm here in Nottingham now, to finish it. To finish the army. So I've been working with Curtis, and we've been re-sculpting miniatures and doing little homages and things to previous videos. And hopefully it'll be out for the old world.
Oh,
which,
cool. Yeah,
could be
square
next
bases all
month
around.
or 20 years. We don't know.
On square bases all around. Who cares, to be fair?
Hexagonal.
Hexagonals!
When I was 12 at the club, fantasy was so uncool. And it was like the only young person playing it. So
I struggled in my store I think at one point the most we had on Sunday beginners we did 2 40k in the morning, and they usually had about 30 each of people, so it was like 60 kids in the morning, just like it was so intense and so mad, which is great for the buzz of the store. Then the afternoon it was like Lord of the Rings first of all, and then Warhammer. And we always put Warhammer at the end because it was just like, no one's going to turn up. We'll just get more time to tidy up.
They used to call me Square Base Kid.
Square-based kid.
Oh, wow.
Like, there's a Square Base Kid. Yeah.
But the most we had was 4 at one point. And that was, I was there for 5-6 years in Derby, and 4 on one Sunday was the most we ever had for Warhammer.
Yeah.
It was sad.
It's a pretty dated game now.
Yeah.
For sure. So,
Which is a shame because it's what got me into the hobby.
Yeah, it looks beautiful on the table. Yeah. All the regimented units and stuff, and also like in tournaments, everyone would bring like unit fillers because the models were so expensive. So it's like you fill up like the.
Have you seen some of the unit fillers?
Oh yeah, but like I've seen some really great ones. So what have you seen?
Oh god! So if you had like a unit of 80 orcs, they would do like. 10 at the front, and then it would, because you'd have like a horde army. So you'd have like 10 at the front, then you have like 8 deep, right?
Yeah.
So they'll have all the orcs going around the centre, around the edge, but the middle would just be a big rock with a couple of orcs on it.
Yeah, that's a shame.
Okay,
it's a unit of 80. I'm like, no, that's a unit of like whatever's around it, and like 3 in the middle. It's a unit filler. So that's not how unit fillers work, is it? That's not really a unit filler. That's just like you just being lazy. I'm sure some of the comments are going, but it's a very fine and fair way of doing it. I'm like, it's not though, is it?
The people that take a lot of pride in the unit fillers, they're like these big sculptural pieces or whatever. Like it's really like people take it to the next level.
My rule when I did unit fillers was to try and represent the number in a different way. So if I like had 8 demonettes and I made a unit fill, I'd get a chariot base which was about the same sort of length and width, like 8 demonettes. And what I'd do is I'd do like a spawn and then like 3 demonettes. So the spawn would be like on chains and the 3 demonettes are holding it back, which in wounds wise counts as 8. So like the spawn tend to be like ogre size things like 5 or 6 wounds. So you're like, well, that's about 5 or 6 wounds because it's a big chunky thing that takes so much of it. And then I've got 3 here that are holding chains on it, trying to drag it back.
This must be the most niche, boring thing for so many people. It's like Warhammer Fantasy and the unit fillers.
But it was good. It was good fun because
I've never heard of a unit filler before.
It was about it's something I did for a White Dwarf article. It was about generating extra texture and height into a unit that was quite flat. So your units are like so wide, so deep, and flat. Because if it's all spears, they're all like the same.
Yeah.
So what you could do is almost have like a bit of height coming on.
Yes.
So you could even like wood elves. You could stick the odd treeman in it. With a couple of wood elves on the top, shooting arrows down and stuff like that. So it added a little bit more interest to what would all look a bit dull. But then some people liked, and I don't think it's dull because some regiments it made sense. Like Empire Halberdiers, your unit filler is not going to be anything. It's just going to be like a wall of Empire Halberdiers, but something a bit more fantastical like wood elves or Skaven. You get like ogres in there and stuff and make it look like a lumbering horde of like just madness. And because you use the art to inspire you, because when you see the art you see loads of like scuttly things, loads of little things, like some big things peeking out the top. I don't know if I've just gone too far down about that.
But I'm having a lot of fun doing that now with this.
Good,
So like, because it's all initially the theme of the Nogadire's army was like the Mordheim Carnivals of Chaos. So my unit fillers are currently like carriages and wagons and stuff like that. They're a bit crazy. Like I got like a big scale horse and I've put a wagon on top of the body of that. So it's not really a horse. It's just a wagon with legs,
But that's very.
But it goes over the front ranks, which I'm very proud of. Like it's sort of and then I did one that's like a trapeze. So it's like 2 models over. It's not really a unit filler, but it's sort of like a meta joke where you have like the the trapeze on one side and the other as two separate models, but they link in the middle with a little nurgling running across it. I don't know. It's just dumb shit.
Is it Sassy Nurgling showing his butt? That's what I want to know.
That's quite a good one, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, Sassy Nurgling.
Very good
I love a
nurglers.
sassy nurgling.
So what are your plans for the future for the channel? You got any sort of like grandiose new changes, or just carry on doing the cool stuff you're already doing?
It's I just do whatever is fun.
Any new
really.
big sort of airship style things coming out?
Well, I'm doing a Great Unclean one next.
Ooh.
Yeah, so I went to Warhammer World and did the whole, I actually got to film Eric and got, it's just him going, you're like, yes, Eric. Yeah.
Did you like the big display where it's like a Nurgle fortress and all the stuff are coming out of it? Did you get to see that in the... Unless they've changed it now, because it's been a while since I've been in there. So there's the first hall you go into, which is the Fantasy Age of Sigma hall, and there's like a couple of displays, and there's one that was up again before you go into the Horus Heresy room and 40k. There's like a Nurgle castle, and loads of Nurgle. That's such a... It's old school style. I always look at that. I think that's like old school art.
I was a little bit disappointed with Warhammer World.
Oh, no.
I don't know if that, it's a bit...
I suppose, you've come from a long way to
No, well, like I like the experience, and it really does feel like you're going to the Mecca or whatever. But it, I don't know. Like I think YouTube has sort of given me a jaded look of what cool dioramas and stuff should look like. Like really, if Games Workshop were cool, they would be like Squidma, Tabletop Time, Zorp. You want your dioramas in there because they're truly like real, And like, I think they're a little bit dated too, because it's like they're just recycling the models from what I can tell.
Sometimes they do whole things from scratch, and I know the guys work like bastards in that little exhibition room.
Yeah, not to diss anyone, but
for a second I don't think you are. But
no, they have mega tight deadlines and stuff.
They get really super tight deadlines, and sometimes it might be the brief they get as well that they have to like constrain, because usually it's like the new release. So here's a load of like, this box set is Nurgle versus Space Marines, Ultramarines versus whatever the Nurgle.
The best one is like the Orc scrapyard. The crash in the middle
like
of
Black
it.
Orc Down.
Yeah,
Black Orc Down.
Yes.
But I like the narrative there. That's engaging. Because you're like, but everything else sort of seems
My
like
favourite's the Imperial Guards, sort of red square style where all the tanks and the troops are marching. It's not like a battle scene or anything like that. It's just like a cool sort of like scratch at like some lore. Like that's what they were doing when they're marching to one. You got all like the little tanks that are just facing towards as they go past the commander's balcony, like all the soldiers are looking up and all the tanks are facing that way, and it's like slowly gradually going back as they go past it. It's like a little things like that. I love the little details in that.
They need more old stuff in there. It really needs to feel like a museum.
The thing it misses, which I loved so much, and it was a shame, and I don't know whatever happened to them. They had the Minas Tirith that they made, which was all like resin, which was an amazing board, and we did so many games on that. They had Helm's Deep, which was also an amazing board. There was a Bretonian Castle. There was loads of like just cool theme boards that people could like rent for the day or hire out for the day and stuff like that. And I just think it misses having those. And I know Lord of the Rings is not like a big popular system anymore, but you could do, I don't know, some Age of Sigma themed board that's just really cool that people can play on. You could do some, I don't know, not the Eternity Gate or anything, but something like Hell's Reach. Like a Hell's Reach board or whatever.
But the Lord of the Rings stuff, like it's good for the people that aren't, Warhammer people that go there to take their kids.
And they understand
or whatever.
it, and they go, that's Helm's Deep.
Yeah.
No, agreed. Yeah, it does miss that. That was one of the big draws, I think, for a lot of people when the museum was just a room of cabinets. There was no like displays or dioramas unless someone had put like a small one in the cabinet. And I always thought it was a bit sort of like, meh, you come from Russia, you've come from like America, you come from Australia, New Zealand, this is what you get in the exhibition hall. But what kind of made up for it was the cool display boards out in the hall. And the weird castle design that you had. That was like, that's a bit cool.
Okay.
But they revamped it, made the exhibition hall bigger, but got rid of all those cool themed tables. It's like, you could have kept them. Stick some Space Marines, large scale Space Marines, the things they take to Fest.
Yes.
Stick those in the hall.
Yeah, the big Terminator should be
why
in
are they
there.
not in there? And I know it's like, a bit of real estate for like gaming tables and stuff like that, but there's plenty of places they can go. So there's lots of cool things that have been made that just aren't there that would be cool to have.
Well, look.
There was supposed to be a dropship they were making.
Really?
At one point, so it was going to go in the car park. So you had the Rhino, and there was supposed to be a dropship. And I'm not sure if it was like Relic had made one, and then for whatever reason they just didn't end up getting it.
Right.
Because Relic did the Rhino for Dawn of War. But there was talk of having the dropship. But then because the tram was made and then there was like limited car park spaces, I think that might be why.
Yeah.
He's like,
parking there can be a bit of an issue.
Well, it's like, do we lose 10 car park spaces or have a cool drop pod? Maybe let's get rid of the cool drop pod and make sure we've got enough parking for the staff.
Yeah.
Stick it in the roof. Stick it in the roof. That's what you can do.
Is there like a really cool archive somewhere in the back room? Or
there's a tiny room, which is where we stored a lot of the old minis and some of the army painted stuff. And then in the exhibition hall, there's another room that's like goes round a little bit, and that's got like some old stuff in there. But there was which still kills me now, one of those storage units, like yellow box company storage unit things.
Yeah.
And it had loads of old like stuff, and it just all got trashed. I say trashed, thrown out.
Because we used to walk when our office moved upstairs and they were like doing some stuff in the stairs. We got to walk through one of the archives, but it was an archive of like all of the box games. So there'd be like pristine second and third edition boxes and all that sort of stuff. So that was quite cool. But we didn't see any of the green stuff, bits and bobs.
I always found it really weird. We had our access revoked to go through there.
Yes, we did.
And I'm like, why? Because we've seen it all before. It's like 30 years old. There's nothing new. I'm not going to sit on a bag and like walk off. I don't do that in the store. I always thought it was really weird that you're not allowed in here because of its secrets. It's like, but it's not. It's an archive. There's no secrets here. It's all
it's a secret that we still have this.
Maybe they're precious over their product.
There was like the old Judge Dredd game and all that kind of thing. So that was quite cool to walk through. And I mean, I was even newer to the hobby than I am now, and I'd walk through with the other Pat and it'd be like, oh my God, that must be worth so much money. And that's so cool. And I'd be like, they're all boxes.
I just love seeing things I haven't seen before. Really, it tickles something. And knowing that there's a room out there that
there is
could
a room
be,
There was a lot of old projects. I don't know where they went now, but that never quite. So we did a load of dwarf tanks for Old World at the time. There was like 3 painted, 4 painted. They got put somewhere. I don't think they got binned. I think they got put somewhere. And I remember seeing some in the little storage room. So there is like things that were ready to be released, then just went, nah, let's get rid. We're not going to use them. No, we're going to use them. So, which is a shame. It's a shame because it'd be good to have those in the camps to go, this was going to be a product, but it's not anymore. And have like a big sign saying not didn't make it, or not an actual product, a test.
So I'd love to know, I guess 2 things. So the first thing, for obviously, you talked about how you collected your elves with your brother and stuff. When did that turn into casting and kitbashing and sort of the Trent I see before me now?
Around the time I was getting into miniatures and stuff, I was interested in knowing how they were made. And that sort of led me down like designer toys and stuff, and people that make like resin, like toys, art toys and stuff, like, bootleg action figures. Or There's quite a famous bootleg toy artist called the Sucklord, who's very, very cool. But he makes a lot of these bootleg action figures that all have some sort of like a political stance or
I've seen like people like they make like G.I. Joe action figures, but ones you can't get, and it's like 3D printed with like different heads or different torsos and stuff like that. I've seen those, but not.
He's so cool, like, because he's sort of, I really like him as an artist because you really relate to him because he's like always sort of like down on his luck and always struggling, and he like lives in like this upstairs apartment in Chinatown, and he's just sanding resin and making bootleg action figures all day, and like that's the narrative, and it's like that's also sort of the reality of just trying to live off your artwork and doing weird niche stuff that a lot of people are excited about, but also like not enough people to really
to bring you millions.
But watching all those sort of things get made like really led me down this rabbit hole of like videos and interviews and stuff with all these this whole world I didn't really understand. And then as soon as I got money for silicone and resin, I was just like, I got to try this out. but I didn't want to recast anything that existed, so I started sculpting and things like that.
Yeah. Did you ever meet the artist guy and get to talk to him?
No.
Or is it just someone that's just like eluded you?
Yeah, I would love to. I'd love to go to New York and meet him. He's crazy. He's crazy cool. Crazy and cool.
Yeah, crazy and cool.
Yeah.
Good combo.
Maybe one day, but yeah, I would follow him if you.
Yeah. What's he called again?
The Sucklord.
The Sucklord.
Yeah.
Such a good name.
Oh, so, yeah, you will. Yeah,
And the people in the comments going, I know him. I love his stuff.
But that whole world, like, I love the idea of like making something from scratch and then being able to reproduce it and stuff. Like I've always wanted to make miniatures and things like that, but I'm not good at things. Also, so it's like you have to sort of lean into that.
Yeah, I'm always inspired when I see like my friend Steve. He was an eye painter with me, and he went off to do sculpting, and I'm just like But he invested the time, and that's the difference. He put the time in. I've never got round to it. I like doing the odd green stuff in, the odd like not model making, but like filling gaps and things and making the odd stuff out of plastic art. But I'm always inspired like when you see people just create something. I really would love to have a Flash Gordon figure riding a rocket cycle.
Yeah,
and like no one makes that. I should learn to sculpt so I can make it myself. I'll just wait until someone makes it. But then no one makes it. And then you're like, I should have probably learned to
Or
sculpt.
get a friend that's a sculptor and be like, make this.
Yeah. And they're like, it's a one-off. No one's going to buy it, so that's going to cost you £14,000. I'm like, you know what? I won't bother. I could probably refilm Flash Gordon and make my own with that, but yeah.
Yeah.
I couldn't.
And then the second thing I was going to ask is, I guess, like, I find it interesting that Nottingham, we talked about this a little bit in the car, I guess, like that Nottingham's like the mecca of miniatures. Like, did you think when you started, when you were younger, you'd be like, I'll be hopping on a plane and going to Nottingham for a couple of weeks?
Yeah, I mean, it'd been the dream to do, which I don't know if that's weird. You living here, like if you recognise
take
that?
it for granted, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I can see it, and I've lived that as well. So I live in Derby, which is like 10 miles that way. But I wanted to get to workshop and work for workshop and then be around these people, and I've had that privilege to be able to do that. So I totally understand that. Except my journey's only been 10 miles. Yours has been quite a substantial more.
Sure. A lot of the travel that I've been doing, like to Adepticon and here, is just for the people. It's like finally getting to meet the people that I love and work with and really admire in real life, and that's community is such a big part of my hobby, and being in a kind of small country town in Australia, it's like, sometimes my world just exists on the internet for those few days that I don't have a club or a board games night or whatever. So meeting these people in real life is really important. Turns out a lot of the best ones are in Nottingham.
I mean, I've got dreams. I would love to go to America and go to like a Comic-Con, because they're like huge, but I've not been to Adepticon. There was an intention to go before I left, but didn't get enough time.
It's just so fun. It's crazy.
The question I want to ask is, and this is also for our viewers as well as myself, as brief as you can, describe what is at Adepticon, what kind of things you can see and do.
Okay.
If you can. Because I know it's big, and it's like 4 days, 5 days?
Yeah. So, I think we were there for a week in total, but I think it's 5 days around there, or 4 days or something. Yeah, but it's... it's just everyone that loves miniatures is just there playing and sharing and trading and kitbashing and doing all these, events together, playing. Like, there's something for everyone there. Also, the beautiful cabinets of all the Golden Demon entries and all that sort of stuff. But it's also, the crazy thing is, it's like open for 24 hours. So it's just so much room for degeneracy and silliness and like a 24-hour bits market. So, you can have some bevies with your friends and then go down and buy, some out of production Tyranid model and then send that shit next door.
That's going to be an experience.
Like, I'm going to go and get some classic like Imperial Guard figures if I can.
Actually, that's what Eric's really good for, is like this annoying like encyclopedia of like knowledge. So if you're at the bits market, you just hold something up and he goes, I know what that is, and he tells you, and then he tries to take it so he can buy it himself.
Nice.
Smart.
But it was the first time I'd ever done like a miniature convention. And
did you go as a customer, or did you do like any seminars or anything there?
No, I just went as someone wanted to see their friends, and I had no idea what I was in store for or what would be there. It really is. It's quite quite magical, really.
I think that's our intention, and we won't go like to do anything other than just to meet up with people
Yeah.
and have a good look round and stuff.
But like I've done PAX in Australia, and that's like a very like activity focused convention. You know, like I'm going to go see that thing at that time, and that time, and that time, and you know, there's workshops and stuff like that. But I think so much of it is just the socializing and you know, meeting your favorite painters at the Golden Demon cabinets or whatever.
Yeah. Oh, that sounds really
That
fun.
does sound awesome. No, 24 hours as well. And from what I understand, I think it's the I went to Games Day Chicago years ago. Adepticon is Chicago, isn't it? That's the right one I'm thinking of, yeah. And me and the wife stopped in a hotel, and outside was this massive convention centre, which was where Games Workshop did their Games Day. By the sounds of it, it's the same place. So I'm very familiar with that location. So definitely eager to go and just meet people.
Yeah, like I met Dave, Mini Wargamer Dave.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. A real hero for me.
Yeah, he's great.
He's just the best.
Yeah.
So much enthusiasm.
Oh.
Yeah.
He comes across like quite grumpy and quite, you know, like northern stuff like that, but he's quite a lovely guy.
Oh, so you know, I was, you know, real hero for me. You know,
great.
and I was just telling him how much, you know, like he's changed everything for me, and you know, the tutorials, like the old Mini Wargaming tutorials, and like, you know, spewing out all this stuff.
Oh,
and then,
Dave Mini Wargame. I was thinking Dave MS Paint. Sorry,
I thought when you were like Northern, I was like,
yeah, but both
Northern Canadian.
Northern Canadian. No.
But other Dave is also very nice. Yeah.
No, Mini Wargame Dave. Yeah, absolutely.
But
Sorry,
like, you know, but my
Old
connection to like, you know, being in a country town and stuff, being like I got into YouTube because, you know, that was my hobby also.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And then, you know, meeting him, and it's like, you know, getting to hang out and all that sort of stuff. And he's so enthusiastic. We ended up like staying up to like 4 a.m. and he just didn't want to sleep. He was like,
Yeah.
And then next day you see him walking around in like,
That
you know,
guy
Space
oozes.
Marine armor, and you're like, okay, Dave.
Oh yeah, I've seen that. He's doing a thing at the minute where he's wearing like lots of like chaos armor and
What a
looks
legend.
like LARP or something.
What a
like.
legend.
Yeah, he oozes enthusiasm. That guy does. It's just like literally just like climbs up you.
He's just
It's like Venom.
so
Yeah.
He's like, I'm talking to him. He's like, I don't know if you get this, Trent, but I just see 8s everywhere, man. Like corn. It's all I think about. 8s. And then,
Because he did a post on the 8th of August as like Corn Day.
Yeah, do that every month.
bloody legend. Yeah. So Adepticon was so magical and so special. And
So
just meeting people too, you know. And it was like, you also feel kind of cool because people are like, I've watched your videos and all this stuff. It's like the first time I've ever, you know, like,
I'm always like, I don't expect that. And when it does happen, I always feel a bit weird. But I always like, people go, oh yeah, you'll get noticed and stuff like that. No one's going to notice me in the States. I'm just like some generic Englishman that just blurs into the background. And you're the same when you go out. It's like, no one's going to notice me. And then they do. Then you're like,
Yeah.
apparently 1 or 2 people do watch the videos.
Yeah.
It would appear.
It always feels quite surreal.
Yeah, absolutely. But,
yeah. Or like that people it sounds like a stupid thing to say a chap came up to us at Warhammer World, and he was like, oh, like you were talking about Night Lords, and
Yes,
I want to do Night
yeah.
Lords now, and I'm like, oh my god, people listen, like
this
is
is the
crazy.
words we say.
Yeah.
Gosh, got to be super careful now.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's obvious that people watch you and enjoy it and stuff, but it always still feels quite weird. Do you find you ever get used to that? Because I never have. Even like through all the years of like being in the studio, Warhammer TV, even now, I always get like quite not uncomfortable. And it's not to say people can't come up and say hello, because I love chatting to people, but I always feel a bit sort of like an imposter, like I've taken someone else's talent and skin
100%.
and stuff.
Yeah. I feel very shy, and like I don't really know, like, do I give you something? Do I like, here's my army, like you know, whatever.
Yeah.
But
I suppose like I've heard people. There was like a guy who was in the studio years ago, and one of the old staff members I worked with was like, "Oh, I met such and such at One World. Oh, he was really rude." And I was like, "Oh, no way!" And he was like, "Yeah." And then when I got into the studio, I was like, "Oh no, he's just really quiet and shy."
Yeah.
So, do you want me to get that?
Oh yes, please. I
I'll
think
be back in a minute.
that might be an Amazon delivery of spray paint. If you just buzz it, and then hopefully they'll just ditch it. Oh, he's going all the way downstairs. Oh my god, this is mental. We did ask our patrons if you had any questions.
Oh, cool.
But we can do a cut and then wait until Peachy's back.
Yeah,
if
of
you
course.
But that should be fine. Oh my god, someone's asked like 4 questions. Talking about Brexit.
Okay, yeah, I can.
It's weird.
Oh dear. Oh,
he's sprinting up them stairs.
You won't be able to talk now.
Yeah, it'd be knackers.
Imagine it's your pixie pink.
Yeah. Oh, amazing. Thank you very much for that, Mr. Peach.
I did press the buzzer, but he kept pressing.
Oh, yeah, you have to like, people miss it. You have to like hold it down for ages. Cool, yeah. But I'll edit a little pause out and then we'll
Teach Trent to get some spray.
maybe we'll do that.
Why is he so out of breath now?
Yeah.
Talking about people meeting him and knowing.
Yeah.
That's the
Just
stairs,
like
man.
hyperventilating.
His stairs do kill my knees when I'm caught up in my leather. I'm just like,
Yeah.
You do quite like your stairs here, don't you?
Yeah.
It's too much.
Not enough lifts, which is fine because I mean, I used to like at Warhammer World in the office where we used to do the filming and stuff. We were at the top floor, so I always made sure I used the stairs. Got a thing with lifts and stuff like that, but
We just build out.
yeah,
You got the room and just.
You've got the space.
You've got the room.
Yeah.
yeah. I just like going upstairs, but it's not good for the knees.
Mammoth country. Yeah. Lovely. So we do have some Patreon questions.
Cool.
And when we have a guest on, I always preface this and say, there are Patreons, so some of them are a bit silly, and ask some silly questions.
Oh, good.
So that's always quite good fun. So yeah, I'm just going to dive in there. And the first one is, how do you always stay so bloody positive? I admire that a lot.
Oh, that's quite nice, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't want to break any illusions. But I'm very sad. No. No, I really, really love doing it. Like, it really feels like a blessing to be able to do what I'm doing and having a really great core audience where it doesn't matter if like a video does really well or it underperforms. There's always such great comments and people excited and cheering me on and all that sort of stuff. So it's just a fantastic community. Like I just, every time I upload a video, I'm like waiting for the comments to come in. I can't sleep for hours because I'm just so excited by everyone being so nice. So I don't know, it's a great community, I guess.
Yeah.
And doing different things all the time.
We've said this a few times, like, even though our videos don't have like huge numbers in like likes and stuff like that, the comments are always super positive. You get like the odd one which is just a bit, just someone's just having a bad day, I guess, but most of it is it's just like really supportive, really positive. You're just like, you're doing the right thing. We're enjoying what we do. And it's good to see that, and like you reflect that in your personality and stuff.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, I don't know. It's just like great things all the time. Like permission to do whatever you want. And you know someone's going to watch it.
Yeah,
it's pretty crazy. Like doesn't mean it's going to be very good, but I'll give it a go.
Apparently, Shatterpoint wasn't. Says Pat's mum.
Yeah. But that received like good feedback and good comments. And,
but you know what?
All
Actually,
that sort of stuff,
on the topic of
So-
Adepticon, when we, like when people come up and they're like, "Oh, I just want to let you know, I really love your work," whatever. They always say like, "Oh, my favorite video is something," and it's always like the video that like performs the worst or whatever. Because it's like every video is important to someone for a different reason or for a different moment in time or whatever. It's like it's all important. So even if it's Star Wars,
even if it's Star Wars, it's fair. Suggs hurt me earlier. She said I hate Star Wars. We shouldn't say hate. So that's not my thing.
Yeah, she wasn't a fan, was she?
That's fine. It's not for everyone. And I'm
Mandalorian was good though.
Oh yeah.
That was fun, but it also didn't feel like Star Wars, so maybe that's why.
Yeah, I think that's why a lot of people got into Star Wars via Mandalorian, because it was like it's a bit of a space western. And
I have an interesting relationship with Mandalorian. Like when it first came out, the first couple of episodes, I was a bit lukewarm on it. And then I liked it from sort of like episode 3 onwards in the first season. Season 2 I really liked, and then season 3 I've kind of gone off it again.
I haven't watched season 3 yet. So
I don't mind season 3. I enjoyed it. Some good fights with Mandalorians versus.
I feel like
I had fun, and that's the important thing.
Yeah,
it's the journey, isn't it?
Yeah. I think Andor is probably my favorite Star Wars series now.
Yeah, you're a thinker then when it comes to TV shows as opposed to a
because it's good or because it's fun.
It's probably not fun.
Yeah,
I wouldn't describe it as fun, but somebody dies, they get cremated into a brick and ignite a revolution, and then a guy gets this brick woman and like beats a stormtrooper to death, and you're like, awesome.
Brick woman. That is the best way to describe that last scene.
Yeah. What you just described is Max from Turn Up 28. Anytime he opens his mouth, it's just like that. And we've been hanging out with him for like 3 days.
Yeah, he's mad.
And I think it's turned me a bit mad too.
Yeah. I mean, he's popped up with the chat with Eric. I think we ended up talking about Turn Up 28 and that sort of stuff. And,
I cast his finger. Actually, on my models.
Is he going to turn into like something that crawls across the battlefield?
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah, and I cast my teeth as well. It was quite, grim.
Oh, wow. There we go. So the next question asks, I love his videos, but my question is, are you the utterly tortured artist you come across as?
Oh, so we are positive and now tortured artists. Like people singing.
Look, I get it, but it's also like all the videos have like a narrative arc to them. Like it's very important to like have all the ups and downs, and all these ups and downs are over the course of like a week while I'm shooting these things. And condensed, it can seem like, this is whatever, but it's also like, I think it's important. Like it's an important part of your journey for things to go wrong or whatever. And if you just want to tune out and watch something fun and happy, maybe that's not what it is. But to share a genuine experience of your hobby, it has ups and downs.
I think it's a learning for anyone that does the hobby. They can see that kind of stuff and go, oh yeah, I've had that, okay, so I must be prepared for these kind of things happening. So I think it's good to share.
But like when I finish something, like I want people to feel it. Like when I finish doing the airship, I want them to be like, it's great that he did it because I remember when it went wrong or the things fell off or he's scared to call Bill because it wasn't done yet. Like I want them to remember that sort of stuff because it's like that's what making stuff is. It's a victory.
Absolutely.
It's a journey.
And I think that's what I connect with the most, like going on that journey with someone when I watch a video. I'm painting some, as our Twitch streamers will know, I've been painting red cloaks on Custodes for like 2 months.
I think it's been 2 years.
And then it's like I've given up and having a break and painting like another cool project instead. And I'm trying to document that and make a video out of it, which will just be a roller coaster of me having an existential crisis.
We did the video of my Venturing Nobles, which I converted from Deathcore Krieg, great coats, gave them some like Outrider helmets and stuff like that. And they stayed on my desk for a year. I kept looking at them going, I'll start and do a bit. There was like so many at different points of like some being base coated, some being half base coated. So we'd like, we'll make that into a video and just talk about how I'll get past that. And, in the end, I got them finished and I was happy with it. I could have done more to them.
And, like that's the thing, like documenting everything in real time with the vlogs, it's like you're not going to end every episode on a high because you can't, because the video might come out in another 2-3 weeks or whatever. Like that's the process, So I do try to have a bit of a balance, but that's good feedback. I try to put some cheery music over my tears and
amazing. Have that nice juxtaposition. Like when people fight to like, well, it's like Guardians of the Galaxy, wasn't it? It's like, oh my god, fight scene, but here's this different music, and then now everyone's kind of run with that, and that's become a thing. So maybe you could cry to like really, really happy tunes. Might be interesting.
Sorry, Pat, you're trying to say something.
I've got a word that I'm really going to struggle to pronounce.
Same.
Euclidine? What non-Euclidine shape did you aspire to cast in the future, and why are they rats?
Wow, okay, that's very specific, isn't it?
Is it? I don't think I'm saying that right, but does that make sense to you?
Euclidean? Is that
Euclidean? Yeah.
Non-Euclidean. Is that like the shapes that don't really exist, but they're like because they're like all math shapes?
Oh,
so it's like shapes that like they look all
yes, yes, I know. Yeah, I know what you mean.
They're really very ignorant to all this.
They're really, really hard to describe.
Cool. Is this like Escher drawings? As in like
kind of
stairs that are stairs that go up but also go down at the same time?
But like these things actually like exist, and it's like it is a shape and it all like melds into each other.
I wish I had a funny answer for this, but
was that my buzzer going again?
I don't know. Do you want me to just...
Are you all right? Yeah, sorry.
Just skip to your face or...
Just hold it down for ages until you hear the door go. Don't go downstairs, it's fine.
Well, no one's open. I'm just a disembodied voice now. No one's opened. Didn't know anything.
Never mind.
I didn't hear a noise, so
No, sometimes it might be a delivery. They might have just left it on the doorstep. But that's fine. Apologies. Right. Hopefully that's the last intrusion now.
I'd hate for an interruption during that question.
Yeah.
Why is it rats?
Yeah.
Is that what they said?
Yeah.
Who's asked that question?
And why
Just
is it
out of
rats?
interest.
Is it because rats are so that is Tim's stables.
okay.
Tim, what are you doing? What is going on? You would love my friend Max, actually, Tim. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I think rats are like really bendy and can just like squidge through
Everything.
Yeah. So maybe
Apart
it's just
from rat
like.
kings, they struggle a bit, don't they?
Oh, is that when they're all like all the tails
they're
get knotted
cool.
together?
Yeah.
Rat kings.
I should make one of those, huh?
You should, yeah.
You should. Yeah. Well, at least something has come out of that question. There we go.
Yeah.
We all got confused.
Yeah, meth
and-
rat and a rat.
Yeah. So Matt asks, Trent, will you marry me and house me in your workshop, please? Praying emoji.
Okay, interesting. I wish I could marry everyone,
Yeah.
but absolutely not.
I mean, you're only constrained by the laws of the time, so
Yeah.
you can do what you want, really.
I would love to scan myself and then scan my workshop and then make it so that anyone could experience just being married to me in VR all the time. I don't actually want that, but
I'm liking this.
it would create some sort of separation.
Yeah.
I wouldn't get questions like that.
Yeah, there we go. Derek asks, I run Warhammer clubs for students and I instantly recommend your free goblin terrain
Hell yeah.
as a jumping off point for those who show an interest in crafting. It's such a great resource. Thank you.
Oh, nice.
No question. Just a pat on the back.
That's great. Yeah, lots of free resources on miscast.co.
yeah.
There are heaps of terrain. And then we've also got Monster Bash cards, which is this event I do with my friends every year where we all draw on like cards and then we shuffle them up and they're all monster bits and you deal them out and whatever you get, you make monsters out of.
Oh, incredible.
It's used in all sorts of schools and stuff now. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, and it's all free.
Yeah.
So it's a great community thing.
I need
It's
to
a
get
good
this
way
one,
of
lad.
bringing people together to
Yeah.
like great icebreaker.
And it's called the Monster Mash.
Monster Bash.
Bash, not mash. Damn. Get some music going.
Yeah. More of a technical question. It reminds me of a game we used to play when we were kids, actually. It was called Misfits. And it would be like you'd have characters, but they'd all be chopped up. So it would be like head, torso, arms,
Exquisite
legs,
Corpse is what we call it.
Maybe slightly less child friendly.
Yeah.
There we go. So, technical question: can kinetic sand for kids be used for forming molds?
It can be for metal stuff. That's how my friends and I would melt down aluminium cans and make like daggers and stuff. You get a daggers. You go down to your local Bunnings or what's your hardware store here?
It's like B&Q or...
Okay, yeah. You go to Bunnings and you get a Bunnings snag, which is a very important part of our culture because we are old veterans. They sell sausages at the front of our hardware shops, and you get your snag and you go and you buy your bucket, aluminium bucket, and you get a concrete and a flower pot. And you put the flower pot in the middle, fill it up with concrete, and then you get your crucible. And then, that's how you get all your fire. You light that on fire, you put a hairdryer through it, you get a fire extinguisher, cut off the top of it, and then you put all your aluminium cans in there, and then you use your kinetic sand, and then you get the shape of the dagger, you can draw it out, and then melt it in there, and then you can stab your friends. There you go, there's your tutorial. Yeah. Once a year, you get a tutorial, and that's it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, there we go. Fantastic.
We should put an 18 rating on this.
Well, you can make other things like flowers for your mum or something.
Yeah, flowers,
Yeah. It'd be like stabbing your friends.
Or your mum might like daggers.
She might like a dagger. She might want to go out, put a dagger, down in the boot.
Daggers are cool.
That would be quite cool.
Well, is it in Scotland they have one that they put in their socks. I can't remember the name. Please drop it in the
little hockey
comments.
socks.
Yeah, because I know the sporran is like,
V porridge.
Yeah, why not? And then they have like a ceremonial dagger, and I think it begins with an S, but I can't remember. And it sounds quite funny to an English person, I guess.
Knife.
Interesting.
A stagger.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was awful. Didn't like this.
I'm glad I came all the way to Nottingham to learn about Scotland. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Just that stuff.
No, I tell you what, I'm going to Google it right now.
Oh no. Why is this? What the dagger's called? Or
Yeah. Scottish knife in sock.
sock knife?
Oh, I can't.
You can't pronounce it.
No.
Okay, well,
It does begin with an S though. I wonder.
maybe someone who knows in the comments.
I wonder if-
write it phonetically for Pat and me.
Oh, ski and do. It's spelled SGIANDUBH. But it's ski and do is the phonetic.
Do you pronounce the B like Siobhan, or do you pronounce it as a V?
Well, the
You said
it's
it's a
weird.
B?
No, there isn't a V.
No, B.
But,
You said
B.
B,
Yes,
yeah.
there is. Yeah,
Yeah.
in there's a B in do.
There's a B in do, so mate. Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
But the ski and do, the E in how this is how to spell it. Like phonetically, the E is upside down, which is really weird. Anyway, that's Scotland.
Anyway, that's Scotland. You heard it here, folks.
It's amazing. Language is amazing. It's so bizarre. Like we can get to Edinburgh in 6 hours from here, and the E's are upside down.
I remember talking to
It's
one
wonderful.
of the folks on the one-to-ones, and they're asking about like there's an Irish name that one of their friends has got, and they're really hard to spell. And I was like, oh, what does it begin with? Like, oh, I think it begins with A. And I was like, is it Aoife, but it looks like Alfie? And he was like, yeah, because Aoife has like an A, an I, an O, an F, and an E.
Yeah.
But I always remember when I used to see it, it looks like a glance. You know,
Yeah.
being dyslexic, you'd make a shape, and you'd like, it's Alfie. Oh no, it's not. It's,
Yeah.
And but yeah, it's just weird, like ether. But
Yeah.
in my head, that's spelled with an E. Because it's Gaelic, isn't it? It's like
Yeah,
very
'cause
different way out.
Yeah, I remember like doing kids clubs when I was a climbing instructor, and there'd be a Siobhan and a Neve, but there'd be an English Neve, and then there was an Irish spelling of Neve, and I was just like, the first time seeing it, I was very surprised and confused.
Oh, speaking of names, my name's everywhere here, turns out.
Is it?
Yeah,
Trent
the
River,
River Trent.
Trent, everything.
Yeah.
It's
Trent
Yeah.
College.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
You know,
are
I grew
everywhere.
up thinking there was no other Trents in the world, and I just need to come here and see a river.
Yeah. You are.
Yeah.
Well, they named
Yeah.
him. They heard about you. And they're like, we need to name a school after him, a river after him.
Have you been to the Galleries of Justice?
No.
So it is.
I've been here, and
Yeah.
Someone decided to ramp up the music. We've got a little theme tune going
We've got
on
a
there.
music festival outside. I think someone. I don't know if people will be able to hear that, but yeah, he plays like quite operatic, like metal and rock. I think he just picks someone up, or they pick someone up, because I don't know who they are. But this might go on for a few minutes. We'll just carry on. But the Galleries of Justice is an old prison that's been turned into a museum,
yeah,
and the predominant.
quite close to home, a prison. That's nice. Yeah, thank you for that.
And the majority of inmates there were then shipped off to Australia. And we were chatting to one of the guys there. They do like actor-led tours and stuff. We were chatting to one of the guys, and he was like, "Oh, he was like, there's an exercise yard, and it's tiny." And I was
I'm
like,
sure
"Oh,
he's turning it up.
bastard!" And yeah, we'll get copyrighted for this. Yeah, and there's like names scratched into the brick, and apparently like people have traced back their heritage and gone like, "Oh, my great granddad like scribbled that." And I'm like,
Interesting.
wow.
Interesting.
But yeah, that's the thing. Let's try and crack on with another question. What is your favourite model you've ever kitbashed, and what's your favourite tabletop gaming moment?
Interesting.
I'm just gonna. We're all gonna overheat, but I'll close the window. Please carry it.
Yeah. I made a big house. Oh,
That is like the shortest music listen I've ever heard.
yeah. That's just like a pep talk in
Yeah,
the morning.
yeah.
Yeah, I can do today.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm quite proud of the walking house model that I did, which was, I tried to do like a Mordheim house that had sort of grown legs, and that became my sole grinder for my
Cool.
Yeah, because the real model is really bad.
It's just a bit. It's just like half a demon, half a walker. But
Yeah, but it doesn't really fit in fantasy. But there's rules for it.
I mean, there's some like old sort of art that I always was like, was this 40k fantasy? Because I remember seeing, I don't know if you remember, there's like a Chaos Knight galloping down the hill. There's like some demons and stuff, and in the back there's this massive, great big like tank thing. And I was like, is this a 40k thing or is this a fantasy thing? At that time I was still quite young, didn't understand. It was like the realm of chaos is all of it, right?
Yeah.
But I always thought like the Soul Grinder was hard to fit into Warhammer. But it sounds like you've done a good.
Yeah, but quite proud of that one. But also, there's this really dumb one that I made, which was just like a great unclean one fist with just a sword and shield either side of it, and like wearing a skirt. People bloody loved it. So that's what I came here and Curtis re-sculpted a fist for me and stuff. So we're going to release that as a miniature and
awesome.
Yeah. Hobby moment in a gaming moment.
Yeah, what's your favorite tabletop gaming moment?
Yeah.
But gaming moment, yeah.
So much of it is like between the games because we're playing these campaigns of like, like these, you start developing rivalries and you sabotage and you get other members of your club to gang up on other members of your club. It's, it's all the sort of bickering behind the scenes and like, if you go to that tile, I'll meet you there in 3 turns and then we can just,
I think there's got to be something said like those like narrative story driven campaigns where you do have like email or like you write letters and send them to people and stuff like that. That does those bits.
Yeah.
We in our Mighty Empire, the first Mighty Empires campaign we played, which is this old Games Workshop game, which is sort of been lost now, but it had rules that instead of rolling dice to work out who wins battles, you can play a Warhammer Fantasy battle game. It means that all the games are sort of asymmetrical, so you have a smaller army and a bigger army typically. But that's the course of the campaign as your army sort of dwindles down. But we had an undead player and he was up in the north, and we said that anytime you resurrect or create new skeletons, you can just have them as permanent additions to your army. So over time, he's sort of dominating. His army is growing, dispersing, and this undead army just took over a whole board. And it's like everyone had to band together just to destroy this awesome. Rising tide of undead.
Very Game of Thrones almost.
It was awesome.
Yeah. Well, they took inspiration from that game. Incredible. Our next question says, how do you make a living out of such a creative job? Is it your full-time job?
Yeah, it's not a great living. Like, I work very long hours, but it's just like the best, and I don't get paid very much, but it's enough to pay my rent and my eat food and sometimes take my girlfriend out for coffee and stuff like that. Yeah. But it's a lot of work and it's not always the most fun, but most of the time it's like the best thing ever. So that feels like the blessing in itself.
Well, it's actually, you are a lot older than 12, but the lack of stress, I suppose, of just enjoying life is not having a toll on you. I'm only 20. So,
you worked at Kids Workshop since you were born.
So it does too.
You had a rough paper round.
But there's a lot of luck in it too. Like, I've met very good people along my journey and people that have been happy to help and teach and lend a hand or, give me models when I couldn't afford them or whatever. And fantastic community, like any time that I've, needed to raise money for something or things haven't gone well, they always buy my stuff or donate or it's bloody awesome. Like it's...
Yeah, we have with patrons, I assume you're saying the same thing really. It's just like they're always there to, don't worry, we'll send you some biscuits, do a care package and stuff like that. Your biscuit offering is rubbish. I'm going to send you some biscuits. It's like, it's nice the support you get from folks. It's amazing. Indebted to them.
Yes, absolutely. No, they're very, very kind. Like our, we've been chatting about getting an office, and the solicitor we're using is one of our patrons because he was like, hey, like, this is my job, like, send me everything and I'll look through it. And he sent us a care package and it's been in a box and I've been meaning to show it off for a while, it's like buried down there.
Oh man.
There's a 3D like bolt pistol in there that is 3D printed.
It's painted.
It's phenomenal. He did send some Twixes and some penguins, but someone ate them all. Next question.
That means pat it more.
Yeah. I'm a terrible human being. So on your website, do you sell like your miniatures and bits and bobs and stuff, doesn't it? Yeah. So somebody has perhaps an oddly specific question. Has Brexit in Europe and the UK affected your business?
I don't know. I don't know what causes all my postage to be so high, and so
It's because you live in Australia, I think.
yeah, it's quite far away to get anywhere. But like you talk to people and they all have a different grumble.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm sure it has had an effect in some long run, but I just know what I know, and it's that things are expensive, and I'm doing my best to make things affordable. But I gotta
See what you can do.
Yeah. Bovril or Marmite?
Bovril. I've never actually had Bovril.
I haven't had Bovril either.
It's like Marmite. A lot of people use it for like drinks. They get a spoon and pour hot water to make a Bovril drink. But it's
warm.
Yeah. But you spread it on your toast. It's very similar.
Oh.
Honestly, I think Bovril was slightly bitter.
All I know
about
about Bovril is have you ever watched Spaced? Like the Simon Pegg series, like pre Cornetto trilogy, and they go clubbing and they have a one of their Irish friends who's like just on loads and loads of drugs, and he's like, right, I'm going home for a pint of the black stuff, and he just looks at him and goes, you can't drink a pint of Bovril. And that's all I know, so I'm going to say Marmite to that one.
Well, because we have Vegemite in Australia.
Yes.
It's adjacent.
Yes.
And as kids,
is it not?
Well, because we have Marmite also.
Yeah.
And as kids, we have Marmite to get us ready for Vegemite.
Okay.
Because Vegemite is very intense.
So is Marmite the gateway drug?
Perhaps. I mean, everyone loves Vegemite in Australia.
Yes.
So Marmite is also veggie based, isn't it? Oh, it's not got no. It's not a meat extract or anything like that.
I don't think. No, it's yeast extract.
Yeah,
Because
it's like the thing from beer. But I remember talking to a vegan, and they like putting, when they're doing like a vegan spaghetti bolognese, just to make it feel a bit more meaty.
Yes.
They put Marmite in it.
Yeah. You it's like a seasoning.
And it's like makes it taste meaty, but it's not meaty.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah.
I put a square. Somebody told me, and I tried it. I made a chili once years ago, and you put dark chocolate in it.
Yeah, I've heard
was
this.
quite bizarre.
It balances the spiciness out a bit. I've tried it. Sometimes you get like people give you like gifts of like boxes of chocolates, and you always get the Bovrils, and no one eats them. I just like put them in the cupboard, and every time I made a chili, I was like, just break a couple of those into there and stuff. But only done it a couple of times. Both me and Liz were both like, didn't really notice a difference. Did you notice a difference? Did we not put enough in? Maybe we should put more in next time.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I'll put Bovril on the shopping list for the Peach household.
It'd be fun to try.
Yeah. It's all right.
Okay.
I prefer Marmite over Bovril. I think maybe Bovril might be on par by the sounds of it with Vegemite then maybe.
Okay.
But I think it's more intense. If that's the case.
A more intense experience. Yeah. On an already intense experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you like biscuits?
Oh, I bloody love biscuits. That's like my weakness. It's like
Good.
Like
I mean, you've done well. He's been here for ages staring at you.
It's because if I have one, I'll eat them all.
Same.
A good mint slice is my favorite.
Ooh, like an after eight kind of like thing, or is that just something different when you say mint
It's like
slice?
it's a bicky.
Okay.
But with like the mints, and then they coat it
it's covered in chocolate.
Yeah,
like
it's
a
like domey.
Viscount. I think we have those here, don't we? They're called Viscounts, which reminds me of those.
Yeah, like I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I love shortbread. Shortbread after shortbread. Yeah, biscuits are the best. I tell you. Anzac biscuits also good.
Yeah, I've heard Anzac
staple.
biscuits are a thing. Oh, there's some shortbread there, apparently.
Oh wow!
No,
Well, I'll never
That's
know
just
that.
pulling out biscuits from God knows where.
Someone sent us those. Yeah. And they're hopefully they're still good.
Oh, is that why they've been down there? So I have not allowed any.
No.
see.
They fell off the table.
Oh, they fell off the table. Like those things fell off the back of a lorry.
Yeah. Fell off the table into my mouth. It's horrendous because I'm in this room like 24/7, and then I look over at all the biscuits that people send us, and I'm just like, oh no, it's happening. Lovely. Tea or coffee? We know this. Coffee.
Yeah, bloody love a coffee.
Yeah.
Anytime.
Sorry, was my coffee awful, by the way?
No, it's quite good.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. It's good. It's
We only have
ass.
instant coffee here, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
In this household. I quite like to get a coffee like like a coffee pod machine, but then I would drink loads of coffee and I wouldn't sleep.
Yeah, I don't know.
So-
Instant coffee is definitely like my lifeblood, really. You know, it's convenient and it's packed with caffeine. It's
Yeah.
like the most efficient
Yeah.
way to get caffeine in.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, Pro Plus is pretty good. Like just the caffeine pills.
Oh, yeah, well, no, that seems dangerous, you know, because at least I'm conscious while I'm doing that, but if I'd be like, well.
Yeah, and it's warm and cozy.
Yeah, it makes you feel good.
Lovely.
Yeah.
So usually we have an obligatory cheese question.
Okay.
And that usually is what's...
Brie.
Smart.
It usually,
Before we finish, nice.
Fantastic. But, yeah, and it usually is what's your favourite cheese.
Oh, good.
And Brie is exceptional.
Brie is
But-
very good, but that's also like quite hosty, you know, like you're having people over. But like a chili
Yeah.
cheese is
Chili
like
cheeses are good.
Yeah,
big fan of
yeah.
that.
I like putting chili cheese on macaroni and cheese. It's
I
like
like
a
just
little
putting it in
topping.
my mouth, just literally just getting a big chunk and just shoving it in.
We have a spin on the obligatory cheese question.
Oh,
Are we all ready for this?
I'm
If you must pick one cheese to have removed from existence, what cheese would
that's
that be?
very sad, isn't it? Because all cheese has its place.
well, does it?
It does.
Does it?
Do you have
I
a?
do.
Like the square cheese?
No, I don't mind square cheese.
Oh.
I'm quite a fan of mild cheddar. I don't know why. I just I enjoy it.
Okay.
Ollie's going to hate me because Ollie mentioned it yesterday.
Oh, the
Wensleydale and cranberry. Feels like I'm eating someone sick.
Yeah. Fair.
too
I'm not.
sweet.
Yeah, I'm not like a fruit cheese guy.
Yeah.
You know,
I
Sorry,
had,
Ollie.
I was trying to think. I was like, one cheese to remove from existence, but I know exactly what it would be. In like Aldi at Christmas time, or just anywhere in the UK, because you get the fancy cheeses that are in wax, and one of them was like, I think it was gin cheese. Yeah, I'll just cut to Peach's face. There we go. And I didn't get on with that at all. I thought it was gross.
sounds
so
horrid.
yeah, gin flavored cheese.
Yeah.
Throw it in the sea.
you know, like I've been. Yeah. So I was very sad when I went to America that I didn't get to try the canned cheese
Okay.
because that really seems like it shouldn't exist.
Canned cheese.
Yeah, you know, like the spray stuff.
Yes.
and it expands like expanding.
yeah.
fire.
So it's
Okay.
like squirty cream.
Yeah,
It's
yeah, yeah.
like squirty cheese. Yeah,
Squirty cheese.
That's
like whipped cheese.
that's not natural.
That
We
doesn't sound
should
right,
get rid of
no.
that.
Yeah.
Maybe there's like a goat inside the can.
Oh, well, we should keep it then. That's quite
what would the goat do?
Just being there going,
when you shake it up, it's just good. Yeah.
it's more of a sheep than a goat, I'm
Yeah,
afraid.
okay.
So, the goat connoisseurs out there, but like, no, that's not how a goat sounds.
It's probably the furthest thing removed from any sort of real milk product. Honestly, that cheese.
Yeah.
That's like
I can't.
there's Cthulhu cheese. That is.
Yeah, can't wait to one day go to the US and just see canned cheese, but it's got goats in.
Look, shaky
That
can
really
hear
does
it.
sound like a fact that because I like tricking my girlfriend into believing facts that aren't true.
Yeah,
I told her that they painted all the houses black. No, I said, isn't it weird how you never see a black painted house? And she's like, yeah, it is, isn't it? And I said, do you know why? And she's like, why? I said, just birds keep flying into them. And she's like, oh, really? And she just kept telling people that, and then I had to tell her. Yeah, she never trusted me again.
no.
Yeah.
I've done a few with my wife, but I can't pull up any off the top of my head. But she also does it to me. Sometimes I'm so gullible.
I'd feel so guilty. I feel like if I had a child, I'd do it to them when they were like really young, and I was their only friend.
Yeah. My
Or
dad did that with me. He said
Yeah.
he fought the Zulus at Rorke's Drift and also won the Iron Cross in World War One because he had a replica of the Iron Cross that he bought when he was in the army. And he was just making up. He was just being a dad and doing silly things. And I went to school to do a show and tell and mentioned it. And the teacher's like, is that so? I was like, yeah. And he fought the Zulus because our favourite film was Zulu. Watching Zulu with Michael Caine and I forget the other guy's name now. But yeah, so.
I am trying to also understand like the humor here too.
There is no humour. It's just cruel.
Yeah, because because I was on the train, I'm like, like we've got these gigantic.
I see just the humour here. Got you,
Yeah. But like, there's gigantic sort of. We're carrying these big suitcases, and we're trying to like find a place for them on this packed train here.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm trying to get them to fit places, and the guy is like, why don't you put it up there? And I'm like, will it fit? And he's like, No.
Thanks.
Brilliant.
So, you know,
Yeah.
you know,
Well,
bit of fun.
I mean, if like a wait staff say like drops a plate in a restaurant and it breaks, does everyone in Australia go,
Hey, oh, taxi! Yeah, so,
yeah.
it's awesome. Yeah, it's just an unwritten rule, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, there's all sorts. Yeah. I mean, it doesn't help that the trains in the UK are a bit of a mess at the moment, but they have been for ages, I think, haven't they? Yeah. Lots of them. Yeah, they've been on. I mean, I'm amazed that you've got a train. I mean, the strikes have kind of ended now.
I don't know. I don't keep up with that kind of stuff anymore.
Yeah, they were on strike quite a lot.
But everyone was on strike for one point. I was just like,
Yeah.
put stuff in the letterbox and hope it gets there.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, it's nice that you have trains because we had trains, and I might be talking out of my ass here, but the story that I heard is that
Is this one of your facts?
between states, the reason was why our trains failed is because our states couldn't decide on a gauge for our tracks. So it gets to the end of the state and it just has to stop because it can't go to the next.
Oh,
Yeah,
amazing.
so it totally makes them inefficient.
Yeah.
And then we just don't have any trains anymore unless it's just in the cities.
That's mad.
and-
So
in one state.
Yeah. So I imagine is there just loads of internal flights in Australia? Or?
Yeah, there is. And then, you know, if you never leave your own state, it's okay. But if you want to go anywhere in the world, in Australia world,
Yeah.
it's a bit
Trek
inconvenient.
across the bush,
So yeah, I
right?
just fly if I had. Oh, drive. A lot of driving.
yeah.
Worst. And the kangaroos are out for you when you're
I've
driving
seen-
there.
I've
They
seen
look
them
at you.
They walk out like, whoa, mate.
Yeah, and they sit at the side of the road and they watch your car coming and they go, yeah, this is the one. And they go, vroom, zoom out in front of you and you have to,
Oh, God.
Slam your brakes on. Or,
Well, you know.
Do you speed up?
Some
They set
people
up a deer-
do,
they
you
set up a
know.
deer, don't they?
Yeah.
But, you know, I had a friend who supposedly the roof of their car was ripped off because they're so big.
Yeah, they're massive, aren't they?
And heavy and just
Jacked.
and idiots. you know?
Jacked,
Yeah.
They've all been at the gym.
Yeah.
I remember watching an incredible video of one kangaroo had like a dog in a headlock. And
I've seen that, yeah.
and then like this farmer's just like, right, come on, and squares up to it and like punches it in the
Yeah.
face.
And the kangaroo's like, oh, I wasn't
Yeah.
expecting
I was just like, yeah, all right, mate. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, there's just so many videos of just tourists getting just absolutely pounded
Yeah.
by a
Yeah,
kangaroo.
yeah.
It's because they look so cute, but they're
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
Lethal.
they're fierce
Yeah.
in the most docile, sitting next to a lake, scratching their balls kind of way. You know, that's all they do.
Oh, what's the there's an animal. Is it they're like super endangered? I think they're on like a little island on the west coast of Australia, and everyone takes pictures with them because they just look so adorably happy.
Are you thinking quokkas?
Yes.
Yeah. No. Yes.
No. Yeah. Something like that.
Oh, I think I
yeah.
know which ones you mean. Yeah.
Yeah. Everyone's like, don't feed them, and then everyone goes and feeds them and take pictures with them.
I think I've seen one where a guy there's a TikTok and he like pinches its fur and it's just like that. It's like, well,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where
touch
I
me
live,
kind of
there's
thing.
like a cave of possums that tourists go to. And they're like, we have really cute possums in Australia, not like the American, like hideous.
Oh,
like,
yeah,
they're, like,
yeah.
They're so sweet and furry, but they got like really used to just being fed by tourists all the time. So
Yeah.
when you come by, they just go with their little hands out.
Yeah.
You get them like a bit of bread or an apple or something, and they're like, yeah, and they run away.
that's crazy.
But it's like this language that they've all developed. Like you'll see like a little baby one on a mother's back, and you'll go,
Oh, that's like a creep because there's deer in Japan that bow to tourists and then you feed them, and that's just like a creepier like version.
the hands. So
Yeah.
quickly before we end, because we're obviously getting on with time, you got a little box of stuff.
Yeah, I
Is
just
anything
thought
you
I'd
want to
bring
talk
you
through?
some of the garbage that I make.
The garbage?
Yeah. This is this is really messed with Eric. This is the 6th edition fantasy game I play with him. This is a Warhammer you don't paint. So I molded and cast fluorescent demons.
I don't know if you can see. I'll try and get a close-up shot.
We'll have to take some pictures.
Because,
and
he spent
overlay
like
them.
a year making this beautiful Vampire Count's army, and
terrifying.
I decided to make an
Now,
army
this
in
reminds
3
me of-
days. So.
I don't know if you ever experienced them as a child. There was a type of rubbery soldier called Muscle Men.
Oh, yeah.
reminds
Oh
me of the-
yeah. Stretch Armstrong, that kind of thing.
Yeah,
Or-
there was like a tub, and they're all like skin coloured, and they were just like weird sort of alien shapes of different, weird humanoid creatures. It just reminds me of like one of the weird muscle.
Yeah. Everything I do is very weird. So this was one of my mutants for Boyle.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
And
Oh.
yeah, my partner Rachel, she sculpted those faces. First time she'd ever done any sculpting, which is kind of annoying that she's so
And they're
good.
great.
Yeah. And then
It annoys me when your partner's like, don't do any hobby, then suddenly they just, walk up and like make the best thing ever.
Yeah.
And we needed sprues to cast these miniatures on. So these are my teeth. Do you want them?
No, I'm good.
I will.
Teeth would just freak me out in general, even my own.
So we got the thermoplastic, the Uyumaru or whatever it is.
I will have a look.
Just press them into my mouth and then laid it flat, and that's.
I love how like that side is like, oh cool, that's kind of like maybe some like orc stuff, like some bits of metal, teeth.
Yeah.
For no, I don't know what to say. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Stick them in your mouth now.
Because that's one thing I noticed when on the Presentar video. Just give you his teeth. Was the sprue that Presentar was on had like a TV in it and stuff.
It was I wanted to make sure I could be incriminated, so I cast I cast a base filled with my fingerprints, so it was cast on so
that's awesome.
Nobody would be liable in the room of miscastery while we're collaborating on this project. And then I've also got metal miniatures, and these really sort of upset people because the design is they're old school and janky, but these are all sort of based on my concepts for my RPG, but I sculpt them with very big cod pieces and stuff. But I work with a 3D sculptor, and she's too good, so I have to go in and re-sculpt them to make them worse, because that's the aesthetic.
Yeah.
So I'm doing metal miniatures at the moment.
Photo will be required because I don't know if you'll pick up all the details of the cod piece with the light and stuff. It's very shadowy, I'm afraid.
Quite fun, yeah. But there's just a bunch of... actually, I've got the fist in here somewhere.
Oh, no. Is that what Eric's going to get paid?
Yeah. Somewhere in here.
I love how I'm noticing a trend, seeing Louise's miniature that she designed, seeing this chap, just the effort that goes into the butt cracks.
Oh, yeah. It's the best bit, isn't it?
We have a nice butt. We love a good butt.
That's the fist.
Oh, wow.
So,
is he an Imperial fist?
I would hate that.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, that is cool. Look, he's got a face at the back.
Yeah.
We can do this.
Slightly to the right. Stop. Yeah.
So this was for Boyle. So we ran off like 25 sets of them, and then that's been hacked up again, and that's becoming a fantasy Nurgle rank unit.
He's got scum tattooed onto his fingers as well.
Yeah, for my boys on the Hive Scum podcast, I hate to take away the traffic and send them to a much more punk and cool podcast.
Punk and cool. the two words that do not describe me.
No.
But yeah, they're very, very nice boys over there. Yeah, there's a bunch of junky. Oh, actually, you want a copy of Louise's finger?
I bet there'll be some people in the comments that might.
Believe it or not, this is Louise's finger.
Oh, that's terrifying.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
Oh, it's empty as well.
Yeah.
Like a soul.
It's so you can wear it.
Sorry, Sam.
Oh,
You can wear her finger.
that's like when like the whole like wearing someone's skin or whatever.
Don't really see it very well, but she used to get a lot of like hateful comments about like cuticles and stuff like that when she was on Warhammer TV.
Oh yeah,
Nothing wrong with the cuticles.
Yeah, my fingers are awful.
My fingers are terrible. Yeah, same as me. It's fine. Yeah, practical fingers.
That's right. Yeah,
that's what I call them.
Yeah. But if you like that sort of garbage, you'll like the rest of my YouTube channel.
Cool.
So
I do like your YouTube channel. It's good.
Yeah, fantastic.
Lots of fun things. Well, thank you very much.
Oh, thank you.
And I'm going to offer him some peach rings.
Thank you.
Looking at all of them. They're very tasty.
Does the peg go?
You can do what you want with them. I mean, you can like get one, put it in your mouth, and just look like a blow-up doll. That also works.
Yeah, or just make inappropriate jokes about tonguing Peachy's ring.
Yeah. I used to do it in the office all the time.
Yeah.
Oh.
never got
thank
fired.
you very much. That's beautiful.
Forced into an early retirement.
I think that's still a conspiracy going around. People think I got fired.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know many people that get fired at given a sword unless they're expecting me to do that with it.
Seppuku. Yeah.
Why were you fired? What's the rumor?
Because I give too much information away online. That was one of them. Like I've been giving secrets away. I don't know where they got this information from because I'm rubbish when it comes to social media. I'm very forgetful, but that was one of them. I can't remember what they were. Although yes, a few people in the Discord have approached me separately. There's been 3 now. I'm not going to mention who they think I've done it to and who's done it to me, but there's a rumor that I punched someone in the car park. And that same person also punched me. So I've heard this 3 times now. 2 different sides to it. So 2 that I've been punched by and 1 that I've punched them.
Did you win in the rumor?
I don't know. It's just like, fists flying in the car park and no winners.
The amazing thing about Workshop is I've heard that rumour about someone getting into a fight in the car park from at least like 3 or 4 ex-members of staff that have left. And people have come up to me and said, I heard they got into a fight in the car park. And I'm like, no, it's complete horse crap.
So one of my old colleagues in Retail Derby, I was working in the studio at the time, and I think we're having a games night. We're like playing at Duncan's and we're doing like a Warhammer game. And he was like, I heard Jervis Johnson got fired. I was like, what? He's like, yeah, Jervis Johnson no longer works in the studio. I was like, no, I work there. He still works there. He was there yesterday. He'll be there on Monday. He's like, no, that's not what I've heard. I'm like, I literally work there. He is still there. He's not been fired. He's like, no, that's not what I've heard. I'm like, cool. Believe your third-hand information from someone you don't really know. Or the guy actually works in the studio that works with. But sure.
I love I reckon it's the same person that's starting all these rumours. And it's just, fight in a car park.
Fight in a car park.
Because that's all they can come up with.
Yeah.
Not just like, oh no, they had a fight in Warhammer World this time actually. You're like, oh, I'd believe that. Yeah. But fight in a car park, don't believe it.
We didn't do the conspiracy theory as to why I left and why Duncan left. We've been doing that with some guests where like, why do you think Louise left? It just come with like the wildest. We'll do it for so. Why do you think Louise left Games Workshop? The wildest conspiracy theory you can think of.
Maybe she's got a condition where her hands grew too big and they just couldn't fit in the frame anymore.
Yeah,
that's the best one.
Yeah. I was just going to be like, well, Mercury's in retrograde, isn't it?
Well, and also like we've gone through this whole process of calling it Only Hands, and there's like people making logos that say Only Hands, and now they've got to change it to Only Hand, and then they get to the point where like you can't even fit the whole hand in because it's growing, so it'll like fingers, and it just doesn't sound the same.
So poor Louise contracted elephantitis, and her hands just like grew.
Yeah. It happens to the best of us. Really.
I know.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, she just had to go and find a space where her hands could be free.
Well, on that note,
and she uses a micro lens now instead of a macro lens. Is that the same difference?
Yeah, so, just like really wide angle lens.
Yeah. What if she sculpted like little versions of her hands we've never known, and she's just painting with the tips of her fingers, and she has to shrink down every minute she paints, so it's all in scale, but it's just.
Now this is a conspiracy.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd investigate. Yeah, I know a guy.
We're gonna eat some biscuits.
It's weird. She does it in the car park too. It's kind of. All these fights are happening around her.
That's a fight in the car park. Me losing and winning apparently at the same time.
Yeah, Schrodinger's car park. If you go to the car park in Games Workshop, will you lose or win your inevitable fight?
Yeah, and also the fact that everyone works most weekdays and no one works weekends, and yet the store's open. No one's ever noticed this fight. Or fights that happen. No. It's interesting.
And it'd be right by the security office as well, so it gets stopped immediately.
Yeah.
Every fight has chanting, though, and a big group around it. What's the point in fighting if it doesn't have the...
I miss those days of school. It's always just going to say, you're just like walking, it's lunchtime, you're having some cookies, and there's just a pile of people, and it's like, fight.
Who's rolling around on the grass.
Yeah. Usually like some birdie guy finds some small guy, and the small guy wins. And the birdie guy runs off crying.
Which one were you?
Oh, I was never in a fight at school. No. Oh, no, I was one, but I was just like, being bullied for years. And, when you get bullied and eventually you just snap and retaliate. And I didn't do nothing.
Yeah.
But he cried. And I was like, oh, my God. I felt really bad because I made someone cry. But yeah, you learn. Lesson learned. You move on with your life.
Yeah.
He had like found a bird egg, and someone threw a bird egg, and it had like a little like, egg yolk on it, and he was just like, I'm really angry with like such and such, and it's got egg yolk on me. I was just like, I'm sure it'll come out in the wash. You just, your mum will probably wash your clothes for you, won't she? We were like, what, 12, something like that. And he just turned around and went, you're as old as my left hand, and went for me, and I just moved out the way, and he banged his head. And I was like, what?
Getting into a fight about egg yolk.
That's
wild.
It's the weirdest thing, but I guess he had issues. But
There we go.
But then I got, all these sixth formers, because it was between the sixth former terrapins and stuff like that. And they were like looking at me as if I'd like done something. So they went and told the headmaster and stuff. And I'm just like, oh, okay, cool. It's funny. Wow. Anyone else have similar stories?
No. I was just hoping for a good one.
Sorry, no.
Here's how to make a dagger out of it.
No roundhouse kicks in the car park, I'm afraid.
No.
Just dodging a guy going mental at me.
Yeah.
Best way, just move out of the way.
There we go.
Even with knives, daggers, apparently that's the thing, isn't it? Just stand out of the way.
Just go sideways.
Go sideways.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you watch all those videos of like knife defense, and the guy's always like, oh, and he's like that, and the knife goes flying or whatever.
Isn't that Stephen Seagal style?
Yeah.
Hate that style.
Yeah.
It's fun though.
Aikido. Well, I think Aikido was the martial art that you did learn when you did
right.
martial arts, but then he does his own like movie version of it, which makes it look like he's
Maikido, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Because it's his own style, right? He
Yeah.
calls it Maikido. I don't know, I'm making that up. We're waffling now.
Yeah, we are.
We've got to waffle stage. Well, thank you very much for Trent for coming on. I hope you enjoy what you got a week left-ish.
Yeah, just about. But I'm cramming every single day with new stuff.
Yeah, there's lots of places to see around not so can't.
Well, it's just so much interesting happens. It's just in the little studio thing. It's just interesting people, and
you've got Rob and Suggs say that they'll be able to show all the cool sites. You're looking at going to the trip of Jerusalem, the old trip as well, aren't you?
I think so. Apparently I've got to clean a ship or something. I'm very excited.
There's like an old boat, and there's is it an old wives' tale that if you touch it you die,
or clean it you die. Yeah.
I think it's just because so I've been set up, bloody Rob.
Yeah. You can't actually touch it. It's in like a glass case.
Because it is like as old as the pub. I don't know
if it's as
Probably
old as
not.
the pub.
Yeah,
maybe.
I'm very excited.
1167 was it, the pub? Something like that?
Don't know.
1102. It's old. 11 something.
Yeah.
Correct me in the chat. But yeah, we go past it quite a lot, don't we? It's a good old pub though.
Cool.
Near the caves, there's like some bits that go into the caves as well.
Yeah, it's like built into the caves, isn't it?
It's amazing.
I've heard mixed reviews about the caves. Like, don't go, or you should go to the caves.
They don't show you all the caves. The cave system is vast.
Yeah.
They only show you like a certain amount of it. I'd love to see all of it because there's like people that have got houses that like link to the caves.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's mad.
I think one of the best ones is in the park. It's like absolutely massive, and you can walk through it, and then you just end up in the back of like a multi-story car park, and you're like, oh. But from the other side, it's quite impressive. Yeah. But there we go.
One side, definitely not.
Yeah. The other side, you're like, oh, a mythical walkway. I wonder where this is gonna. Oh,
NCP parking, great.
Yeah. Welcome to Nottingham.
It's just like it reminds you of playing Dungeons and Dragons. You're like, I'm running out of time. At the end of the cave, you find the tavern, and everyone's like, oh, I guess we found the tavern. But so you found the car park,
Let's all go home.
Yeah. My favourite thing to do in D&D was like, do you want to go to town A or town B? And then they debate it for ages. And I'm like, psych, they were both the same.
And I prepped neither of them.
Yeah. You had the illusion of choice.
Best way.
Yeah.
Well, enjoy the rest of your stay. Have a safe flight home, and carry on making cool content.
Thank you very much.
Enjoy your peach rings.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.